streamers all do their reactions and they all upload, I assume we all agree that the audiences are not going to spread equally to all of them. Instead, it will be people like you and Asmongold, etc. You know, the established lads.
Yeah. I understand where you're going with this. I understand. Yes, streaming videos, anything on the internet with media is very top heavy and very much capitalistic in that. And most arguments made against that are usually like actual brain dead fucking commie Andes. I'm just gonna keep it a stack. So if you're gonna try to approach it that way, I think you're gonna get crushed. But go ahead.
I'm not. Honestly, I'm trying to figure out a lot of this with understanding your mindset on it as well. So
makes sense, yeah.
Considering all of what's been said, like, could we not see a future where it will only benefit the people who are established already if we all agreed that you were right on this and we all felt that we should be able to
streamers, yeah, but not in terms of YouTube, right? Because the video will perform and will continue to perform as long as it makes good videos.
Well, I'm assuming you guys know about like what Jax Films has been doing with XX Sniper Wolf. I forget the full name or how the name is said, but that she'll be reacting and getting millions and millions of views from TikToks that are all grabbed from people who have as low as like 100 views and they never found. Would you say that that is unacceptable?
No.
No.
I couldn't care. Literally couldn't care. These guys aren't taking off, haven't taken off, will not take off, and have no ways of doing so. Unless they will, and that whatever she's doing isn't affecting that in any way that's negative. If anything, it's a positive, flat out.
Are you saying that the market would have defined whether or not they were worthwhile?
Yeah.
Okay. Destiny, what do you think about that?
Oh, you can laugh if you want. I'm right.
Sure.
I mean,
often enough, they're gonna keep posting it, and she's gonna stop reacting it, and they won't make it because their content fucking sucks. Their shit is garbage.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably right, but I mean, I wouldn't say it that way.
You think he's right? That the market...
No, he doesn't think I'm right. He knows I'm right. There's a massive difference.
This is my... If I was to argue this, which I won't because it's such an optics L, and I'll let XQC go eat all those optics Ls. What I would say is that, like, people are just mad at React content because streamers are seen traditionally as lazy compared to people that put a lot of, like, preparative work into their content. And... the reality is that like all React content does is it makes some streamers richer and it makes a lot of audiences happy because they can view something. Really, it's just like a ton of upsides with probably no downside. The only downside is a perceived or illusory loss that the original content creator feels. So then the question... Well, what do you mean? Or I'm sorry, what did you ask me?
I'm asking about the fact that those TikTok creators are all getting like 0 views. Meanwhile, Sniper Wolf gets all of them by reacting to all their content. That's happening because them on their own would never get any engagement because they're not good enough. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah, I don't think they would. I don't think that somebody watching Sniper Wolf's channel, if she wasn't uploading those, I don't know if they would be on TikTok discovering those low view TikToks. I don't think
that's not the point either. Well, obviously my conclusion would be that they may be found someday, but for now they're not, and instead they're just going to get eaten by her. She can take advantage fully of that.
But that's another situation where it's just her gaining and then her audience gaining. But if we axe out her gains and the audience's gains, that's it. We've just deleted like.
So what is the correction then? We can have her promote them, right?
Okay. Wait. No, I have it taken. Here's the actual thing. If you want to be a creator and you want to shit to pop off, you create, right? In a lot of ways, maybe the first video they'll make won't have that effect, right? But the boost that they're gonna get when they make another video will pop off. If you want to make one video when it could have went hard, and you say, "What in another world it would have went hard and it would have been viral, whatever." Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can maybe right, but like, is that what you are? A 7-second TikTok forever, and that you are one creation forever, and you're gonna mull out the potential of what it could have had. I think that's fair and generous.
The implication is, of course, that they create a whole library of strong content that she just gets to pick and choose whichever one she wants to react to. Like, we're not, I assume, conceding that she's the one that makes the videos valuable by reacting to them. Because you said, like, they're never going to pop off. And it's like, so why does she pop off? I assume you guys have seen her reactions. They're terrible. Like, she just goes, oh my god.
It does, no. I'll stop you there. See, you fell for it, man. I had high hope. As an argumentator or a debater, I had high hopes for you. And you just fucking fell on your face. Now I'm sad. You made me sad now. You
gonna make the social argument?
Well, no, you fell for the rookie bait. It's super rookie, because now you don't view it as good, or you don't see its value. Therefore, nobody sees that. Therefore, it has no value, right?
No, I can answer why people are there. I already answered why people are there.
Why?
It's because of the TikTok. They're interested in the actual content.
Absolutely. No, just stop.
Go ahead.
TikTok didn't exist and she was successful. What then?
Well, yeah, but I don't know what she was stealing before. I only know what she's stealing now.
Oh, then they make an assumption that she always stole then.
I don't know.
Okay, but then you're making an assumption by default then. You are de facto making assumptions
No,
at
I'm
that
not.
point.
I
Yes, you
haven't
are.
said that she's stolen anything.
What? Yes, you do. Yes, you are. The nature of your argument is de facto you're the opposite. What? Destiny, can you help me on this? Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
No, I said I don't know how she got to where she was before she started stealing
But
TikTok.
it has value. But you agree that it has value.
Sure, I don't know I have no context for
Okay,
what she
then
did
your
beforehand.
opinion on whether it's valuable or not is irrelevant because the stats and the fact that she's valuable to other people is enough on its own.
I have no idea what point you're trying to make.
Oh my god. I don't know what you are trying to make by saying, well, if you don't know TikTok, she wouldn't get any views. Oh my god, come on, bro. You don't believe that?
No. So I'm taking what you told me, which is that these TikTokers, they'll never be able to work on their own. Her doing it is what's giving it value.
Yes.
I'm saying she doesn't add any fucking value. The videos themselves are what people are interested in enjoying. She's just collecting them. And then you said, well, where did she get her fame from before the TikToks? And I said, I don't know.
I think you are misrepresenting the way the argument went. Like, for the sake of looking better, I genuinely think that the opinion on that is irrelevant. Is genuinely irrelevant. Okay, so let me break it down. I think underplaying the hybrid combination of multiple factors, such as her watching it, her being who she is, and her lore behind her, right? Everything plays a massive role, if not the entire role, behind the success of the video, regardless of how good TikTok is. I've seen TikToks that have 0 views and will never get any views, right? And I'm just really dumb, and I don't even get the joke because I speak French. And chat will like the reaction because I have a funny reaction, but they don't even understand why it's valuable or why it's good. Because the combo of the both, they enjoy it. It has value. Whether you perceive it as valuable or not is fucking irrelevant.
So what was there? I'm not sure what I'm responding to.
That your perception on why it's doing good is pretty irrelevant. If you're trying to discredit, like, oh, well, on their own, they wouldn't even do good. I mean, what makes her, well, I don't know what says that.
My perception on why they're doing good is momentum. That they've already got, I don't know, I wouldn't be able to tell you how Destiny started his momentum because I wasn't there. Neither can I say that for you. All I know is something, it might have been to do with Overwatch, I don't know. In any case, the way you can maintain momentum in an easy way is, of course, continuing to do whatever it is that viewers came to you for, but to also use these videos. They're like placing tracks down for your train. They're easy. And I think that's unethical.
Oh, I get it. So this is more of an argument because molding because of career choice, and you could be making more money with less effort. So you're mauled that people are making money and you are not, based on the fact that how much effort you have to put in your work field, or in your field of work.
I don't mind if you or Destiny or anyone else makes a huge career from reacting to videos if you're transforming them. That's totally fine with me. If you steal them, that's where we have a problem.
Well, actually, I'm really shocked by XQC kind of moved me on this topic because what he said about Sniper SS Wolf is actually super true.
Oh no!
I really couldn't believe it. He made that comment. I was like, oh shit, he's right. At the end of the day,
wait. Can you say which comment in particular, just so everybody can?
The most recent one, where he said basically, Sniper. We all criticize her way of doing stuff, and everyone's making her the poster child at the moment. But the fact is, the audience sees a tremendous amount of value watching it with her because they come for her reactions as well, and for them, it's important to watch it. They wouldn't want to watch a lot of these stuff without her being there. Yeah, so even though it may not seem transformative to a lot of you guys and a lot of the folks criticizing her, the truth is, for the audience, it is transformative in that they would not be consuming the content any way, shape, or form if it wasn't for her.
I don't buy that for a fucking second. They would happily watch other people react to it. They would happily watch it on their own if they caught it.
If that was true, I would be a nobody. I would have never made it. I would be broke as if that was true. That's it. Flat out. I'm a fucking nobody, and I probably never get value. I'm only here because I made these choices, and these combos actually worked out. That's it.
Sure. If that were true, then why would people stay even if you're not commenting at all?
For the community, maybe for the community experience.
Yeah, that's a different argument. I'm talking. You said Sniper Wolf.
I said the package. Yeah, it could be for the comments. It could be for the lore. The sense that everybody knows. Oh my God, everybody has a reason why they watch, right? People downplay the lore of stuff. People go in the comments and they enjoy interacting with other people that saw as many videos as her. They make comparisons to her old videos and so they did in the past, or jokes that she made a long time ago, right? They enjoy her and her content. It's on their front page. There's a multiple reasons why people watch something. There's so many of them, and a lot of them are social aspects, and they're part of the product. And diminishing the whole product because you don't agree with one part or another are stupid. My product is dog shit at times because of me, and sometimes it's dog shit because of what's on screen or what's happening in chat, right? When things work in tandem and in certain percentages or ratios to make a full-fledged good product that is desirable.
Okay. Do you think that if Sniper Wolf stopped uploading completely, that the viewers disappear or they go somewhere else?
Yeah, say that one more time, please, because I had a dumbass don't know.
If Sniper Wolf stopped uploading completely, do you think the viewers from here would disappear or go somewhere else?
They would go. They would split up on YouTube. Some of it would go into the void. But if people need to realize something that's very, very harsh, is a reality. When you're on the internet, nobody cares about you. Zero. Nobody has loyalty. They're only loyal to the content quality that you put out, and you are 100% replaceable, and you will be replaced. The views that if you stop uploading will go to other videos entirely, or will go to other things, and don't make the argument of, well, it'll go to the TikTok with 8 views that the guy had, now he's gonna get 9 next time. That argument is fucking stupid. But yes.
So I agree, but they would go in other places. They would likely fill other communities who would do and react to different things as well. And that would be fine with me if they're transforming the content. If they're not, then I'm less fine with it. Like I said, it's just a matter of how you're building your career.
How do you know that?
Yeah.
How do I know what?
You just said a statement, but like, how do you know that they would just go to a different community and start watching other content? You actually don't know that.
How do I know that they would continue to watch
YouTube
content as opposed to...
Most of it will spread out. Maybe not to the TikTok that she was watching, but on the same platform, and it spreads out. Here's a good example. Look at Twitch's stats when I left Twitch and went to Kick. While I'm leaving, the stats are relatively the same. Relatively.
Real quick, I think that it's going to depend on the type of streamer and the type of community they have. So, for my content, if I was wiped off the face of the earth, if I had to guess, I'd say probably like 50 to 40% of my fans would go and watch other stuff. I think a lot of them would just stop watching content. But if you were watching somebody, let's say you were part of like OTK, maybe like S-Fan. Let's say S-Fan gets wiped off because he does collabs with so many other people. Maybe like 80% to 90% of his audience would go to other OTK members, right? I think it depends on the type of stream you're watching, the type of community they have, and how bought in you are to their content. But I don't think it's zero sum where when you destroy a streamer, all 100% of the audience disperses to other content. I think some of it will be lost. I think viewer hours will go down overall, and some people just stop engaging with content, I think.
You'd be surprised how many people just watch one creator regularly and then they don't watch anything else at all.
Like the video.
So, didn't you make a point about how you're almost interchangeable with so many other people, X?
Yeah. I'm 100% very much replaceable. Yeah.
Yeah. So I believe the majority of the viewers then would definitely disperse to other creators. I don't see why we wouldn't assume that's true.
Wait. The majority, will watch something else. In terms of Disney, people are maybe older. Maybe they only tune into YouTube as their radio, right? They're like radio enjoyers, right? And watch as a radio, and they don't really care about radio itself, but they care because Disney's on it, right? And they'll watch that. And I think as you're growing up, and as you get older, right? I think the percentage of people that are gonna watch other stuff will diminish greatly. By multitude of. I would assume. I think it's a good assumption to make. I don't think it's a bad assumption.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the industry, as I understand it, then will be the ones with the highest momentum will be able to get away with the best of taking other people's content and not transforming it.
100%. Yep. Absolutely.
That is precisely where my issue is. I think they should transform it.
Okay. Well, I don't care. No. I don't. I actually just don't care.
Wait. You don't have to care. That's totally fine. But do you agree that you've created non-transformative reactions?
100%, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. We've agreed.
Wait. Wow.
Okay. So you surrendered then?
I'm confused.
So that's my moral issue. You don't agree with me because we have different morals. That's totally fine.
Oh, okay. That's fair enough. Yeah. Yeah. I think you'll never. I think as the future goes forward, you're gonna have that more and more. Right, but overall, you're gonna get higher value entirely. There's gonna be more ways to enjoy something than just one. So overall, it's like we're getting new sets of cars. We're getting motorcycles now. We're getting hoverboards, right? As you're trying to say, well. I really want them to only enjoy the Corolla. They cannot enjoy anything about that. It has to be the Corolla, right? It just has to be, right? And I think that argument is diminutive in progression for products. Yeah.
I don't see any technological updates that are going to happen within my lifetime that will make me think that stealing content is fine, like not transforming it.
Wait. Why is the fact that he is replaceable not make it transformative? I don't understand the leap from that.
So no, all the leap I was making from him saying he's transformative is that viewers would move to other places with the same sort of vibes or community.
Look smart.
But what does that change?
I've been right, and look smart. I'm smart, and there was an argument. I'm rolling this fucker. What the fuck are you talking about?
I think you're talking about okay, but I'm
What, you guys can hear that?
Yeah. Why?
Oh shit! I have pushed the mute, but it didn't work yet.
Okay,
why is the fact that he's replaceable? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it's transformative. What does that matter?
That's not got anything to do with my transformative argument. I'm talking about where the audiences go. If he says he's replaceable, I believe the audiences will move to other places. Destiny's correct in that a lot of people who view him passionately are like, there's no other Destiny online. Same for a lot of creators. If Lemino stopped making videos, it's not like all of Lemino's videos move to the next Lemino. There is no next fucking hell. There is no next Lemino.
That is correct. And then things that are gonna have a second life, and people will watch other stuff, and sometimes in similarity to Lemino's content. And I think that's okay. I don't really support that.
Yeah. So that was all establishing that. So I figured that was an older argument. The new one is just about whether or not they transform. XQC doesn't mind if he is transforming it or not. I do. That's the
I mean, I care to some degree, and a lot of times if they don't like, I'm not just transformed. I'll take the video down literally.
Oh my god, I can't believe this. By trying to defend Sniper, I'm defending XQC at the same time. But I don't care whether XQC says it's transformative or not. The fact is that anytime he watches anything on his stream, his community, his live stream chat, whether he talks or not, it doesn't even matter. His little reactions of his face make it transformative, and I don't know how you can prove.
Well,
true.
No,
you know what?
No,
true. Yeah, actually true.
No.
I triple down on that.
No, you already left the boat, bro. You can't get back on.
Careful. Hold on. So transformative means something. When we say transformative, we're talking about that 4-factor test for fair use that the United States has as part of their copyright law, right? That's what transformative means. Now, transformative and something is so different that people will watch it for a particular reason. Those are technically two different things, right?
How do you establish that?
You would establish it by looking at the 4-factor test for fair use. That's how you determine if something is transformative in the eyes of the U.S.
Not if they don't agree with that 4-factor test.
No. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. I'm just saying you got to be clear with your terms. When we talk about fair use or we talk about transformative, what we're really using are legal definitions there. If you want to use like a casual definition, well, I would say don't, because you're using the same word as the legal one, which makes it really confusing.
I don't think people care the legality.
I understand.
So when we're using transformative, we're trying to essentially say that like the work itself is changing to a degree that has value.
No, sure. I understand. But I'm just saying that you're using the same word. It would be like saying that, like, yesterday John did something illegal, and you're like, what did he do? He lied to me. It's like, well, he didn't do it. Okay, but it's illegal. It's wrong. He did something illegal. It's not illegal, right? So I'm just saying if you're going to use the legal term of transformative, it's really confusing if we're using that in a casual way. But something that I said a few days ago is correct. What you guys are saying now is that for most people, you guys are actually close, but there's even one step further. They actually don't even care about XQC's reactions. A lot of the quote-unquote, I'm using this in the casual, non-legal sense like you guys are using, transformative part really just comes from watching something with a community.
Yes. Yeah, the chat, which is additive, and the chat itself is transformative enough. The fact that there's a Discord and people can talk about, these are additive things that you don't really compute and it's very hard to quantify, but are very much relevant to the final full-fledged product, which is a massive part of everything. And you know what? Sometimes I'm gonna fucking say it. My chair is more entertaining than some of their fucking content. Dead ass. The fact that the chat is watching, they're saying it. It's just saying it. Yo, dude, Mr. Chair's watching the video. That has value to people. That's funny. I don't give a fuck.
Sure, and that's fair, that's true, but that doesn't pass the transformative test, right?
Does it not though?
Not the legal, not the
legal kind. Yes, most likely it wouldn't. Most likely it wouldn't.
When he started, he said he didn't care about the legal portion, and we're really just talking about the morality. I could be wrong. Maybe I missed.
Yeah.
That's fine. But it would be like saying so. Something that some apartment complexes used to do is sometimes people would take a projector, or actually we can do this. Sometimes bars will show sports games, right? And there's a transformative aspect to going to a bar and watching a sports game with a whole bunch of other people. That's like that's more transformative probably than being in a stream chat, right? Because you've got a bunch of people around you, you're all screaming, you're having fun or whatever. However, my understanding is that those establishments still legally need to purchase a special license to show those things. You can't just buy one HBO ticket to a fight and then show that in a bar. You've got to buy a special license for that because you're showing it to a wide variety of people as part of an establishment, right? I'm not disagreeing with what you guys are saying. I'm just saying that's like the legal part is there's a distinction between the legal part of just transformative here versus just like why somebody would watch something. Yeah.
I think we all agree. I think we all agree. Even you. You're saying if you were taken to court, you would probably lose. You agree?
Yeah. But,
okay. So I think we all agree on the legal.
Which really sucks because these laws are old as fuck and they are defunct and stupid. And it should be that way. I think
that's probably what Ethan's going to try to go for it first, is how wrong you are on the law, and then you'll move to morals, and you'll probably have a better standing, but you'll still...
I mean, he'll get mauled away because he lost his entire career or his entire fucking future in terms of money to it, right? To that very issue, and he's mauled that, like, I'm going around the plot making fun of it when he lost a lot for it, you know, right?
Yeah, but the thing is with Ethan, I don't think, obviously the legal aspect mattered in terms of how the news story unfolded, but I think people were on his side because they really felt like what he was doing was transformative and that it changed it. They didn't care about the legal aspect of it when they were thinking about that. They said, no, what you did really changed the work in the way that I view it. And so it's not right for you to be punished. And so I think what I'm getting at is that when I'm looking at XQC or even Sniper SS Wolf, I feel like both of them do enough where for the audience the experience wouldn't be the same.
Okay, so Abba, question: if I uploaded all of your videos and my community reacted to it and I wasn't there, would you be okay with that?
Shit, I would. Oh man.
Okay, hold on. Abba has to say no. He would not be okay.
He does have to say no. I know him a little bit.
Well, no, hold on, because he literally on my stream like 3 days ago DMC fucking just Pearly things for reacting to it. So he must say no.
I see what we're doing. It's a paid actor. Because paid has got to come in and lose an argument on my behalf, even though I'm okay with it. And now I have to cover for him. Hell no! Kick him out. Kick him out.
You're in the clear. X, you're in the clear for now. It's Abba that's gonna have to suffer.
No, I don't have to suffer anything. And once she didn't get it, she capped about that. But anyways, all this to say, I would have an issue because of how I've always felt about it. Now, if you ask me if I feel it's transformative 3 days ago, I probably would have said no. But I've honestly been a little bit changed my mind tonight by the conversation I've heard. I'm really shocked. I mean, it's never happened, but X actually like changed my mind on this.
Oh shit. Okay. See, I have a concept in my chat called Mr. Chair. If I'm gone and I watch a video and I leave, Mr. Chair watches the video for me, and chat fucking loves Mr. Chair more than they like me. Chat hates me. They love Mr. Chair. Okay, and for them that has value, and I think that can't be understated.
All right. So, just to clarify, you'd be okay with me doing it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. To me too. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'd probably still feel some type of way on the inside, but I think if like you.
But why?
Why? It's some insecurities. Some. I think everybody has some insecurities. However, you're gonna project those is all up to you. But I think that people shouldn't give value to some arguments because they come from insecurities that some of these guys made.
Just to clarify, because like that scenario is kind of a step just further than what we were talking about when we first started Next. You said you'd offer to buy the channels out, right? If they did that.
Oh, if they do what I do, but better, and they get better on the algorithm, I will add them to the ship.
Okay.
Right. I will redevise the workload, and we're gonna get a clip guy. And now my editor is good enough that he does all of it. He learned how to do the rat clip, the yoink clip, the post clip, the fast clipping. He knows all the strats. But if he gets bad enough at it and it's not good anymore and we get rolled, I'll hire the next guy that does better.
No, yeah, fair enough. But obviously, what I was bringing up is Abba, I was expecting to leave me alone, not try to buy me out. Let me make my money.
Yeah, I mean, I was not gonna buy you out. I was gonna leave it alone. But leave
it alone. Yeah.
I would say this. I think that most people, when we're talking about the morality of the issue, their idea of what is transformative is going to be fairly subjective. But for the audiences watching the content, they would feel like it's extremely transformative for them. And so I would ask you, how do you make the moral argument where you can feel like this is something that should be a little bit more expanded, like more people should follow it? I'm curious, like, how do you even define that line really on a moral basis?
You're asking me like how I would consider, where's the line for non-transformative to transformative?
Yes. Well, what is the line?
So I'd probably model it after the 4-point thing, but like one of those I think includes like the amount of time, which I'm not in favor of. So for example, if it said like you need to have a maximum of 10% of the original content in yours, I'd be like, no, I don't think that should necessarily be true. If you respond fully to 100% of it in detail, it shouldn't be that like, well, now they own it because you've done that. Obviously, I'm personally invested in that since I do like full breakdowns of every scene in a movie sort of thing. The main thing I think is to change like the full experience of watching the original. Like you can't if I was to review a movie, that you can't watch my video and have the experience of watching the movie. Like, it's a completely different thing, and it's on different markets for different purposes. That's like one of the primary issues. Too much of my work is in there for it to be considered not my work. Is kind of what I would say.
You know what? You know what's crazy? You said that the future in your lifetime wouldn't change as much as you think it would. Whatever the fuck would you made that argument? Actually, it's crazy that corporate are the most scared about this, and they really don't want that all that bullshit, right? Yet they're exploring watch party options, which is massively in my argument. People watching movies together as like watch parties. That is a massive advancement that even corporates see value in it. So whatever you see value in it, I mean, you are wrong on all points, like all of them, because even greed is on my side.
I agree with you that there are avenues in which this is going to develop, but they'll all be licensed.
Oh, okay, so then we're back into the legal lingo of bullshit. Gotcha.
Well, you'd be clear morally if you had licenses for all of these things. I wouldn't mind.
The whole point of the license, the whole point of the license is just to ensure that the original copyright holders are respected. That's the whole point of a license. A license accomplishes two things. One, when you create something, what copyright means is that you have the exclusive right to create copies of that electronic work. Or not electronic, but that intellectual property, right? That's what copyright means. You're the sole person that can create copies of it. A license allows other people to create copies based on an agreement between the rights holder and whoever is selling the license. So that's one thing. The second part is a license allows the people who own the copyright and then license other people to make money off of it. Those are the two things that a license helps with. So when you talk about watch parties, the original rights holder exclusive right is respected because he's licensed the content to somebody else, and oftentimes there's a form of compensation for it. That's why licensing is different than just straight watching content.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. There are times where I want to become a lawyer. I'm very interested in this. And recent times, you know what? I think law can suck my. Law is complete garbage. It's a money sink. It's a loophole of a human waste. It's trash. What an absolute sink of humanity. That's my.
I know that it seems that way, but if you ever feel that way,
needed. I get it.
It's not. No. It's not that it's just needed. It's that generally when you dig into almost every single law, usually they exist for really good reason.
Yes. I agree. I agree with that 100%. Okay. It's just their application and the way that the systems work in practice is pretty shit. I mean, we could agree with that.
Well, what's shit? What do you mean? What's shit about this particular thing?
Oh, no, not the particular thing. I'm just overall. Yeah, I mean, even with that, like if you think about like the whole H3H3, how much I think was expensive or whatever, and what the actual human losses in that, it's really sad. Or even the fact, two good examples here. Ed Sheeran was like locked into some bullshit fucking court case forever, and he won. It was a waste of human creativity and human life, like a waste of human value. And that's kind of sad if you think about it. I don't agree. Or Anthony Fantano being like, well, I'm gonna win the court case down the line, so pay me money. Come on, man. Nobody wants that shit.
Sure. The financial aspect of our legal system in the United States right now is probably really bad. I think most people would agree with that. But that's not. I don't know if you would say like law sucks. You would just say that the financial aspect tied to the law is really bad.
In practice, in practice, the money part of it is bad. Yes, I agree.
I have a question. So I've been listening to the conversation. And I feel that the idea that there haven't been enough evidence to suggest damages seems a little odd if we acknowledge that there's a finite amount of viewers who can only create a finite amount of watch time to be distributed across all the different content platforms. So if we agree that non-transformative content counts as
wait, before we
theft.
get to the rest of that, I think that was a thing that we were fighting earlier. I don't know if that's true.
Well, that's what I was going to say is impressions, okay? So not even just that like, oh, the viewers are going to go to other channels, but it's about delivering different impressions. So for example, if someone thinks that Sniper Wolf's non-transformative content registers as theft, then we can say that since she has such a giant platform, it's the equivalent to having a town and there's a shop where goods are sold, and then basically goods are stolen from a smaller shop and then put on big shelves. It's like shelf space. So impressions are limited and they're finite, and even if someone's not going to a different like content creator or going to watch that other person's content, that still frees up shelf space inside the algorithms.
Wrong.
To then promote.
Actually wrong. So it is not even close. The analytics are literally saying you are absolutely wrong. Okay. I will say one word. One word breaks all your arguments. TikTok. Okay. TikTok literally just shits on all of our faces on that very point, and it makes you wrong on all points. Why? The analytics of YouTube and watch time and everything has stayed remain at least the same or better overall, And
No,
TikTok,
but I'm saying it's per platform. I'm saying so it would be on TikTok non-transformative. It would be on Twitch being non-transformative because, for example, as a Twitch streamer, or a streamer in general, it seems like streamers want to say, oh, well, I've got to stream 12 hours a day, 10 hours a day, and I have to use the bathroom and I have to go cook food and stuff. Well, I mean, no one's forcing you to stream. You can shut your stream off, and then that frees up impressions in the algorithm. So it's like this idea, this idea that you have to be there 10 hours a day, like that's kind of bullshit, right? Because if there's somebody like Hassan or whatever who goes off for an hour and then comes back and he's playing other people's content, he could just turn the stream off.
Wait, let me respond. Wait, hold on, let me okay, chill. Okay, so here's why I don't think that's true. There's a lot of conventional wisdom that says it's true, but here's why I don't think that happens. So this is the one big example that I can think of, okay? Back in the day on Twitch, there was this erroneous idea that when new games released, you wanted to get into those categories because the idea was if a new game releases and XQC's playing it with 50,000 viewers, when he shuts his stream off, like 30,000 of those viewers are going to roll over to the next stream.
That's right.
And a lot of people had these ideas for a long time. The reality is that basically doesn't happen at all. It would seem more like the top streamer, Soda or X or Asmongold, would play a game. Top streamer will have 50,000 views. The next guy will have 2,000. Maybe the top streamer stops playing. If he doesn't host the next guy, maybe 1,000 viewers roll over. Maybe 1,000. And so hold on real quick. What I'm trying to say is that like viewers for stream are seen as like a zero-sum game, but I truly do believe that there are some streamers that when they go offline, people just scatter to the wind and they find other things to do. They're not directly substituting another streamer for their content.
Yeah, I think you're confusing. I'm not saying that they're going to go and watch other content creators. I'm saying that even if 10 to 20 to 30% of the audience stays on the platform, it frees up shelf space for the algorithm to push other streamers in the place where they would have pushed the bigger streamer. So it's simply a shelf space argument. There's a limited amount of impressions that can be served on each platform, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Twitch, whether it's YouTube. There's a limited amount of impressions that can be served. And so if there's people who are taking non-transformative content, i.e. theft, if we just agree to whatever that is, wherever the lines are drawn, then basically someone is taking that content and stealing it and then putting it up and using shelf space, which is finite and limited. Last thing I'm going to say before I hop out, because I don't want to take up too much time, but
no, you're fine. I think these are fine arguments.
Okay, great. So XQC, the other thing that you were saying, which got me thinking a lot, was that like chat is a transformative element on its own. And I kind of agree with that, where it's like, you consume the content and it's like its own thing. However, if we look at like actual fair use law, for example, in 2002, there was an amateur photographer, a retired Marine, John All, basically, they bought some stamp thing or whatever, and it was originally, it was of a sculpture made by someone named like Gaylord or whatever, it's his last name. Quite unfortunate, but anyways, basically they took a picture of this sculpture and then they put that sculpture on a stamp that was 37 cents, and then the post service made 17 million, right? And so he sued them for fair use. And the reason why I bring this up is because like transformative in chat, right? So it's totally, I would say that this is even more of a difference than watching the content by yourself versus watching it with chat, because it's like, well, I would never go and see that sculpture in person. I would never be at this like Korean War Veterans Memorial, right? But I might buy the stamp. So it's a completely different context and a completely different audience altogether, a different distribution model, yet that still didn't count as fair use in court. In fact, it originally counted as fair use and then it was appealed and then it got overturned.
Well, yeah, so but that would be the extent. That would be an extension of the product as merchandising, which is a complete different ballgame. That's not even close in when you talk about impressions or watch time or whatever, any of the dynamics. That's like actual merchandising that is an extension of the product.
Wait. Why wouldn't that be similar though? If we say that somebody can create merchandise off of a thing and it's not taking away from the original, and it's clearly not. If somebody buys XQC merchandise, it's not like it's hurting your stream. And it's just the people that buy the merch are happy, the people that sell the merch make money. Why wouldn't this be like the exact same type of thing?
Wait, that you spoke pretty fast, like I do, except I actually didn't understand.
Okay. If I make merch off your stream, it doesn't hurt you at all. I benefit, and my customers benefit. So isn't that kind of a similar argument that we're using for React content? If I steal your IP, my audience benefits and I benefit. It doesn't hurt you, so it should be okay.
If I cannot produce that exact copy of thing, which is pretty much impossible, then I don't really give a fuck. Like if I'm not currently doing that or I can't do it, I usually let them get away with it.
What if you're both doing it?
Well, if it's the exact same thing, it's just one of it, then the argument applies to them. Then fuck them.
Yeah, because obviously, like, you're selling your t-shirts and stuff, but then you get 50% of total worldwide sales. They're getting the other 50 just as a provider or an outlet. would you try and stop them?
Wait, I was told them 100%.
Mm-hmm. But why?
Well,
You would
because
stop somebody trying to make t-shirts of your shit?
wait, 100%.
Wait, why?
Wait, if I'm making the exact same thing and it's confusing, it's splitting people
like
up.
if you're making shirts. Okay, never mind. Okay.
Yeah, there's so many components that the merchandising I really hate real life examples like stamps, beer mugs, dildos. When we're talking about React content, the length people go to get their arguments across is fucking ridiculous, man. I have to be honest, it's disingenuous by nature.
Well,
I literally.
We're literally just trying to like figure out points. What's backing it? So you said like one of the big problems would be confusion, right?
With merchandising, yes, confusion is very bad. That's why you don't want like a Jordans that says like a Jarda. Like it's like okay, like what the fuck? Like there's market confusion there.
If out of curiosity we could engage a hypothetical and just say there was no confusion, the only reason that they buying from both is just that your warehouses like can only supply so much, and so that there's a bleed over of customers and they end up going to this second supplier.
Not good argument. Not a good argument.
No, I just want to know what you would say in that scenario.
Oh, I say them. They're wrong regardless. I think the argument of finite impressions is ridiculous as well.
Okay, so like you say they're wrong regardless, so it's not just about confusion; it's about something more.
Oh, like I said, it's a multi-component. If you want, like, you can break it down. But I think that the reason why they want to do that initially is that none of these on that list apply to live streaming, and React content. If maybe one applies at 1%, now you're at like 0.1% overlap, and you're just making an argument of bad faith. It's just like a waste of time.
I haven't argued anything yet. I'm just trying to ask what issue you take with it beyond confusion. You said confusion was one thing; it would confuse the markets. Okay, fair. What is there any other reasons?
Quality control. It's not my vision. It's not my product. A lot of things that when I make a product, it has multiple components that a lot of copycats will not understand, and it's important for me that continuity goes across. It's for me it's important, right? But on that point. But if it's not, that's fine. I'll just tell them like, yo, don't do that. But there are times where like I let them get away with it.
Yeah, no, sure, okay. So then the scenario would just change to there's no market confusion and they copy your system completely. The quality is like top notch.
It's a misunderstanding of the vision.
I'm sorry, misunderstanding of vision.
No, they misunderstand the vision of the product entirely. They don't understand it, so they're kind of like damaging it.
Okay. What would be like? I'm trying to think of what you mean by that. So, like, if they did understand the vision, would it then be okay?
Yeah, but they would never get it. Like, a lot of things I think some of these things are pretty complicated, so I don't know.
Well, excuse me, you said that if you stopped streaming or you dropped off, you said that you'd be easily replaceable by everyone. They're just gonna fuck off and find someone else.
Yes.
Instantly. Okay, so that kind of proves my point, because if you're so instantly replaceable, my question is, how do they find who replaces you?
Well, they go around. They watch.
But what do they go? How do they get served what they're going around? That's the impressions, right? It's not like they just manually go and search for people. They can through the thing, but it's still based on how the algorithms serve the content and organize the content on the platform for people to select.
Yeah, I think your arguments are mostly against top-heavy and capitalistic like overall
I don't agree with
systems.
that. I think you should be able to grind and make your bag and fucking make your content. That's not what I'm against. I'm just saying, if we agree that non-transformative content is a form of theft, let's say, and then we agree that also there's a finite amount of impressions that go around, which is ultimately how content gets served, then naturally if someone's non-transforming content, they're just basically stealing shelf space from people. And you said it yourself, the moment you stop, you get instantly replaced. How do people find who replaces you? Is they get served through the algorithm.
Yes. The shelf has 100,000 slots for products, right? I'm sorry for selling really good milk on 999 of those slots because the one guy had the spoiled milk. Sorry about that. It's really bad, and I'm killing the market entirely. Let's lose out on 900 bottles for the one spoiled milk one.
That's not what I'm saying at all. I think you make great content. I'm saying that if we agree that non-transformative content is a form of theft, which I don't know if you agree with that, but if we agree that is the case, okay, so you don't agree with that. So yeah, then it's kind of moot anyways.
Yeah, I'm saying that the shelf life argument doesn't apply and has never been proven, in my opinion, or from my understanding.
But you just said that the moment you stop streaming, you're going to get instantly replaced, or someone stops, they're going to get replaced. It's not like the users like have to like manually type in to find people they want to watch.
Wait,
They
real
get
quick.
served
Just
by
wait,
the
real quick.
algorithm.
What she's talking about, excuses. Like if I go to twitch.tv and I look on the front,
Still an honor
let's
for
say
me
that of
to
these
be able
like
to-
10 streams here, let's say like 4 of these streams are React streams. She's saying that like if we're saying that stealing content is bad, if we get rid of those 4 streams, wouldn't 4 other streams be on this front page we'd be able to click on instead of the React streams? That's what she's saying.
Oh, okay. Okay. I think
Yeah,
overall,
and-
I don't
and-
even value that as an argument worth. It's not even a worthwhile argument because at that point it's like, well, we should shut down the casinos because people are going to the casinos and they should be going to the library instead. Oh my god, I think that's really stupid.
You said it yourself though. People find like Sniper Wolf on the front page on their YouTube, right? It's not like
That's
people
not
will
what
get
I said.
served.
That is not what I said at all.
You said that was one of the points that you made. There were like 4 points that you made about Sniper Wolf, and one of them was that they show up on the front page of people's YouTube.
I said one of them. I
Jeff-
said the main
Jeff-
reason.
Jeff-
Is on the
Right,
front
but
page.
I'm just, but
your
I'm
host.
just saying that shows up for hundreds of millions of people and hundreds of millions of impressions. So if she couldn't just take content like that or make that so easy, then that spot would be freed up. Those 100 million impressions would be freed up for someone else who's making content that
I want
is
to ask. I want to ask.
Oh,
Let me ask a question. If all of these creators, you guys are just accepting him, even though he might be wrong about how he feels about himself. But if all these streamers are so easily replaceable, why are they offering such high contracts to keep the exclusive rights? Or if they're so replaceable, why aren't they just ushering the new wave and then just putting
have the
I
momentum.
don't think when XQC says that, he's just wrong. I don't know why he's saying
Yeah,
that.
that's what I'm saying.
Streamers are
Like,
not,
when he said
streamers
that,
are
like,
not easily replaceable.
You guys are using his argument against him, which is fair because he's wrong about.
oh my
Yeah.
god.
I think he's wrong. He's not replaceable like he thinks, and I feel so weird because I feel like this is simply like no, you have value, but like you should recognize that if you're so easily replaceable, why don't they just replace you? Why are they paying you
Because
hundreds?
I'm the f***ing goat. That's why. What the?
Okay,
You're not
yeah, that
replaceable.
means
you.
not-
f***ing- oh my
yeah,
god.
goat means not replaceable, right?
Yeah, but you
Somebody
break
with low
down the
self-esteem.
goat. You broke down the goat into small pieces, and other people will pick up, and you're repurposing it. 100%. You think that these people are like that when I go offline and I stop, everybody just f***ing dies?
I think
No,
a lot of them
they
stop
don't-
watching. A lot of them, yes, stop watching content.
Yes.
Yeah. There's
Yeah, but
probably
a lot-
you've got.
I'm
you've
actually
got-
with-
you've
I'm
got-
with
wait,
X
wait,
on
wait,
this
wait,
one.
Wait, hold on. XQC, you've got audiences that literally build their days around like whether you're live or not. Like my bet is that if you go into your stream chat on Twitch, I'm assuming that one is active when you're offline. There's probably a ton of people that are literally spamming. Is X going live? Is he live? Where's he at? Is he going live today? What did he tweet? Like what's going on? Right? Those guys aren't watching other streams. They're literally sitting in your chat waiting for you to go live. Like.
Okay. I think that's a big portion. I think ultimately, people find stuff to watch. I genuinely believe that. I'm dead.
He's they be paying for the fact that he's like a beacon right now. You can't
Yeah, it's a
replace
cornerstone.
XQC. You can't just have someone go, I'm the new XQC. It doesn't
No,
work that way.
You're wrong. You're wrong because if he's so easily replaceable, they control who gets the
He's
impression.
not easily
Hold on, hold on, hold on.
replaceable until he's dead.
Okay, so if he's not replaceable, all this talk about impressions is irrelevant. You guys are saying if he's not here, the impressions will go to someone else. That's just not true. Because
But
if
that's
it was,
factored in with the
hold on,
transformative argument.
if it was, there's 0 companies who would be offering this guy big contracts to keep him on their platforms because they can just funnel those impressions anywhere they want. They control the algorithm. You guys, the way the system works, what you're saying does not make any sense.
True.
Bro, because I still operate. I still go live. I still do my thing. If I disappeared entirely, yes, like I said, it would spread out. It would boom. But that takes a little bit of time.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't. I feel like I'm arguing against you for you, which is retarded, okay? But it wouldn't because if it would, they have no reason. Didn't you just get a fucking contract from Kick? If they could just replace your impressions with somebody else, it would change everything. Same thing for Twitch. There's no reason for them to pay you all this money if they can just funnel your impressions to some random person and all the things that are going to work. It doesn't make sense.
You are correct, but
I
I'm
know
just
I am.
saying the trickle down happens if I were to stop entirely and disappear.
That's true.
I don't think that's
The-
true.
I
It's
also
only
wanna
true. You
clarify,
already
I
admitted
also-
it was true. You just said it wasn't everyone, which is true.
No. I think that if you were to go on Twitch, if you were to take the top 10 streamers and ban those 10 streamers and they didn't stream anywhere else, if those top 10 streamers represented a concurrent viewership across Twitch of 300,000 concurrent viewers, I think of those 300,000 concurrent viewers, I think maybe 20 or 30,000 would stick around.
That is
I'm more
pretty
so
crazy.
I'm more
I
so
think that's a bit
basing my
bonkers.
argument off YouTube because I feel like YouTube is like 10 times bigger than the live streaming ecosystem as a whole. So when I'm talking about the impression serving, I'm talking about specifically YouTube. So uploading non-transformative content to YouTube. And I don't think that, you know, it's like the idea of like, oh, just DMCA it. I mean, that just like in the argument where you were making with like property rights Destiny, you don't like, you want that property right to be enforced without you having to manually enforce it.
Well, sure, that's a fundamentally, now we're talking legal arguments, but that is true. If we think that these are property rights that are that exist, right? Obviously, with intellectual property and with exclusive right to copy, it's a little bit more intangible or less tangible than physical property. But yeah, you would assert automatically that those rights are automatically defended. The onus would be on the content violator to make an argument why they need to do it, rather than saying that the person who's being violated needs to actively defend it, right?
Yeah, and I think that YouTube, no one really leaves it. It's a huge platform, and there are people who subscribe to multiple channels, and they just go and they click on whatever looks interesting on the front page. So if someone can upload content that is non-transformative, i.e. theft, if we agree to that definition, then they're basically just taking impression space.
Okay, madam, I assure you that I had an extensive look across multiple, and other people have done, on multiple fresh accounts. People that don't watch React content very, very rarely get served React content. The overlap is nearly zero in that regard.
Okay. I'm willing to have I mean, I don't really have a strong position on this. I just wanted to bring this argument up because I haven't heard anyone mention impressions, which are finite, and they are based on a finite viewer base, which that can fluctuate up and down depending on what's going on, and then the total watch time that viewer base is giving can fluctuate, but there still is a finite amount of those impressions being served, which is ultimately where people find and get delivered content through the algorithm.
Yeah, I get it. I do feel like the space is so wide, right? That whenever you're widening content,
Thanks,
you're like
Lake
widening
Toya VA.
how
I
many
love
people
you.
will
5 gifted subs.
watch content overall. I feel like these boundaries are still to this day like infinite almost. Like you're always pushing and pushing, and more people have access to it. More people want it. And one of the reasons for that, I'm saying that TikTok has made people watch more shit online overall across the board, and the numbers are ridiculous. I don't think to make the arguments you're making, I wish that you've seen the actual math behind it. The TikTok raw numbers, it's alien. That shit is ridiculous.
What?
It's crazy. It's like crazy. It's like algorithm from hell, man. Numbers on TikTok are crazy. You smell?
I don't know what that was arguing for.
Like the analytics are crazy. They're like insane. Like how many people watch videos or do this on TikTok? Like when you look at the raw numbers, they've eclipsed everything we've known before. It hasn't really taken anything from anybody, right? It just kind of so they're having a shelf life.
Okay, I just looked it up. TikTok generates, this might be about 6 months old or so. TikTok generates about 318 million impressions per day. YouTube generates 626 billion organic impressions a day. It's like
Wait, hold on.
it's
TikTok
so
only
more.
has 300 million impressions per day.
What?
That's what it says. 318 million.
There's
That's
no that's got to be like
that is
2 orders of
Chaffington
magnitude off.
Stack.
I can't-
This was posted on June 6, 2023. I can post the link. I don't know if it's bad data or whatever, but I mean, I'm just reading it here. TikTok generates about 318 million impressions per day. Paid advertisers can tap into about 643 or 6 whatever, and then YouTube's integration with Google Search gives creators 626
Wait, can you link what
organic
I'm just
impressions.
curious what you're looking at.
Yeah, I'd be glad to. Sure. I could be misinterpreting it, but
Well,
I mean,
like,
even
here,
if it's
let's
like
say how
double
many people
inflated, that's
in-
still 10 times higher. Here, I'll post it to you. DMs.
No, yeah, I said like an order magnitude or 2 off. That just seems
Yeah,
way off.
even if it's off, it's still that YouTube is so much bigger. So
Order magnitude meaning like times 10. Like that
yeah,
seems like it's
exactly.
times
I'm
10
aware.
or times 100
that's like,
off.
That's like
yeah.
times 1,000 at something. Yeah. So I sent you the link. You can check it out. But that's why I'm basing my argument more so around YouTube. Not I
Wow,
don't know much
JCATX,
about the live
thanks for
streaming
5 gifted
space.
subs.
That you're obviously all way more into that. So I'll take your word when it comes to the live streaming patterns. But when it comes to YouTube, it's a pretty clear pattern of action and how people engage with it. And it's not like people don't just go to YouTube. I mean, maybe they have their favorite person and channel they go to and stuff, but I mean, people just go there when they're bored and click on whatever shows up and looks interesting.
Whoa.
I disagree. I disagree. I think viewers are separated to different categories. There's some people who are going to waste their lives on YouTube. I think there's other people who go in for specific creators. Like for me, I have a couple people I like watching, and then if they're not on or they don't haven't uploaded anything in a long time, I'm off. And there's a lot of people who operate that way. I think a lot of us are very online in these spaces, and so we think that everyone who consumes it the same way, but it's just not true for a lot of users.
If I had to real quick, if I had to guess, based on this article that you showed,
Mm-hmm.
my guess would be that when this says 318 million impressions per day, one of my guesses is this is talking about advertising impressions. That'd be my guess. Because when this said, because if I read what's coming before,
no, it says doesn't it say specifically advertisers can tap into about 643,000 of those impressions per day?
Per day,
So
yes.
it specifically says.
But like,
which
let's
ones
just
are
like,
paid
if I scroll up,
advertising.
it says TikTok has more than 1 billion users. Do you think a platform with 1 billion
That's
users, and then if you
crazy.
scroll up before, it says TikTok users spend an
Yeah, it
average of
doesn't make sense,
45.8 minutes per day on the platform. 45 minutes? That's got to be what, 1,000 TikToks? There's no way that 1 billion users
True.
whose average time is 45 minutes are generating only 318. Like that number's got to be in the billions or tens of billions. That's just my guess, but yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, that number definitely seems a little off, but that's just what I'm seeing here. So, I'm welcome to more data.
Okie dokie. Hey, Abba.
It's on my fucking thing, man. I got ants in this room, bro. Sorry about that.
My bad. I have.
I was going to ask. You seem like you said you changed your mind on like the whole concept of transformative. What would you like if I said if I uploaded to my channel, my community reacted. What if my community didn't react and it was just the comment section? Would you count that as transformative enough?
I think if I went to the furthest end of the idea, I probably could be.
What the fuck?
And maybe I haven't thought about this through because obviously my change of mind is just right now, so I don't want to die on this hill right now.
Yeah, it's all good.
But I would say I think that it's really blurred the line for me for what is considered transformative and it's not. And I think just listening to the fact that because I know this, I remember talking to somebody who says they watch a lot of Twitch streamers, and for them, just eating their food and watching with someone else who's reacting to the content makes them excited to, and they would never otherwise watch it. So for me, understanding that concept, even if the other person wasn't talking, maybe they just laughed a few times, it made me realize that for them, this content is completely different than what the original is.
Yeah,
And so knowing that's that different for them, I'm like, how do I determine what is or isn't transformative when for the viewers who are watching, it is completely changing the way they interact with the content.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Here's a good example for that. You're opening the news in the morning, right? Which is, this is all content, right? And the local news, right? The local news, and they give you a story about some fishermen who caught a fish. The most boring story of all fucking time. And you have it on TV. Instead of switching channels, you're cooking in the morning, and you're watching it. And you know what? You leave it on. You don't change the fucking TV, right? You don't change the fucking thing, right? And why are you doing that? one, it's local, it's relevant, and then after that, you might go to bingo tonight, and Teresa will say, "Did you see the fish he caught?" And yeah, you did. And there's a lot of social aspects of it, and there are a lot of components that go into why you watched it and how you're gonna engage past it, right? When if it was in another country, another place, you wouldn't have watched it. The community aspect plays a big role in it, right? So people want to talk about the people that are in that community. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it anyway, right? Do you agree with that?
I think there's loads of aspects that can benefit from it for sure. I wouldn't deny that, and I even agree with the chat aspect is something. But it feels like we've moved, especially because I'm more so curious about Abba's perspective right now. The presence of any form of transformative nature is like a binary now. It's either not or is, and as long as there's something there, then it is. Is that?
Yeah. And I think for me, the issue I have is I can't really tell where that line is because it seems like it changes very drastically even off minor changes. And so if I take that into consideration, I have to say like even the slightest bit of change might be enough.
No, Abba, come on.
Yeah, because I was gonna say like for
Watching
me,
a movie
I
with
understand.
your family isn't transformative.
Is that another PvPer that enters the arena, bro? How many, bro? This is a fucking brawl in this bitch. What?
If because if you truly believed all of that, like would we be able to, like, you think ethically speaking I should be able to do all kinds of uploading as long as, like, what if I took XQC's chat from a different video and put it onto a random upload of yours? I guess you wouldn't even know, right?
Right.
Then
I wouldn't know. And like I said, I'm not saying that what I'm saying doesn't get us in like a lot of a legal quagmire or even a moral one.
There's a moral one, yeah.
But
It's unworkable, Abba. You can't have that. I mean, then what wouldn't be transformative under that view? I mean, I could go get a hot dog, and my viewing experience would be different than without the hot dog. What wouldn't be transformative?
But listen, I think it's one of those things where if you were to sit me down and say this is not transformative, I could see how. But I think there's a lot of content that you guys would consider transformative that a lot of people would look at and like, I don't think it is. So I'm just saying the line isn't clear, and even though you guys may not see it, just the fact that XQC is on the screen for them is often enough. I can't.
Or Mr. Chair, for that matter, or something. And also, I swear to God, I am not kidding about this. Most of my chatters, which is they only chat here because they like chatting here, right? If you wouldn't put a video now, right in front of them, and they would have and you would have swapped all the components, and you don't even tell them.
You can tear your own finger off without even trying. The only thing stopping you is your brain.
Hey guys, neurology major here. And yeah, that is true. We could bite off our fingers if we wanted to, but our brain is like, no. Because our nerves are actually coated in this thin substance called riboflavin, which helps to prevent
Outblind it. And you would add or remove anyone in chat, right? they would notice 100%, and they would know something is up. 100%, right? So the small intricacies of us being the way we are right now, right, is noticeable 100%, and that has value for them.
So can you watch Oppenheimer with your chat there as a transformative piece of content?
You would say yes,
No.
surely.
Come
Why
on.
not?
No, you can't.
Why not? Why not?
Well, because they don't want me to.
No, I know, but could you do it? And do you think that you should be allowed to?
Well, see, whenever we approach these arguments, right, people always go to the movie as a, got him, dude, love the. In my opinion, I absolutely think I should be able to, 100%. But
Yeah, I think that's consistent.
So there is no copyright then at that point, right? There's no copyright.
Yeah, but I would love to work with them into knowing when I could do it, and for how long, on what dates, and I would love to work on campaigns because I would love to do that. And then I could have an agenda of when we're doing certain reacts, and my chat would fucking love that shit. They would love it.
Yeah, they would love it for you to work with Christopher Nolan, but what if Nolan doesn't want to work with you? And what if he's like, no, I don't
Pisco, to catch you up.
Then they will be poor. They will be broke-ass bitches because they're failing to understand a new opening in the market, and they're failed visionaries. I'm the visionary of film. I'm the visionary. You're the visionary of fucking nothing. If you don't understand that there's value in what. If they don't understand that there's value in watch parties, do you get it?
Yeah, but no, there's value there, but there's also value in streaming the UFC on your stream and hosting it there.
Oh, I would love that.
Honestly, I have no problem with people streaming the UFC from a complete moral standpoint. But if you're talking about legal, the only reason people don't do it is because they feel like it's legally wrong. That's it.
This is a cop-out. When you guys are talking about the law and moral and dividing it this way, you guys think that there should be a moral right to some kind of property entitlement to your kind of creative content. You all do. And
Pisco, honestly, XUC has already conceded, like in the beginning, basically that what do you say? Maximum maybe a day a week. Like you want all of it to be free of that, so we can all react to everything, right?
Well,
no, but he's saying you shouldn't be able to like sell his shirts if he's making shirts. So he believes in some amount of creative.
We kind of touched on that.
Right? Yeah, I mean,
that's a little bit touchier. That's a little bit touchier. Like
why?
Well, because at one point I don't want to sell a T-shirt, right? And it has poison in it, and somebody and it's like, oh well, I was just trying to buy extra merch, and somebody's getting hurt by it. Like that, there's a lot of ways that they could be dangerous.
That could be true of anything that's being hosted there. Maybe you could say the platform that's hosting it is dangerous. It's leading
or actually, let me give a real life example. This has probably happened to UX. There are some people that I wish would have never watched any of my content because they've poisoned the well so hard against me to other audiences because they've shown selectively like 1 or 2 clips of mine, right?
Real? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or erroneously editing it to make you look worse than you actually are, sort of thing.
You all think that there should be some rights to creative expression and that there should be some exclusive rights. And maybe that right is so thin that just watching a film with my family is transformative. But if that's true, then the copyright means nothing at that point. If it's just having a chat, then that means that Steven can play any music he wants at all times throughout the day because his chat will do funny memes and Pepe's.
Yeah, but why do you think Amazon sees value in watch parties enough that they have a big catalog that opens up with people that with Prime can do watch parties on Twitch? It's a massive advancement for live space.
Perfect example, yeah.
And I think we're going in these directions in a very quick fashion, and the possibilities are endless. Endless possibilities, and any argument against
Amazon, it's an endless possibility for Amazon. And the fact that you say that they see value is acknowledging that they're going to monetize it and they're going to make money and they're going to make their bag. And they don't want you to make them back.
Whether their intentions are pure or not, the value for the consumer is there regardless. And if other people follow in their steps and do that with other pieces of content, other people see value and they'll find other ways to make money, and it'll develop as a sphere, like as a.
But who has a right to exploit that value? Who gets to decide, right? So you guys are all saying, well, it's beneficial in this way and it's worse in this way. But the fundamental question is, who decides? Who decides what is done with this? Like, do you get to decide for someone else that you know better how to monetize their stuff, and you know better than them how to properly market the stuff and make sure that they're maximizing?
I don't think I do. I know I do, 100%.
What the fuck?
Because companies pay me $100,000 for 1 hour of playing their game. They understand that the marketing value that I have for their game is pretty massive. Therefore, if I like that product and I want to engage with it, and I can make a good argument for it, then I can market the product in the way that they can because of my interest in it and people's interest in my interests. Purely.
Wait, hold on, Pisco. Let me ask you this, right? It's not even about the content being transformative at this point. X genuinely believes that he's providing value to the people that he's reacting. Yes, it's a new fucking competitor in the arena. Okay, so he's actually saying they should be grateful that I'm reacting to their content and it's giving them exposure. Therefore, I'm helping them. That's what he's basically fucking saying. Do you even agree with that shit?
Well, whether I agree with it, I think it's probably true in some cases, and it's probably not true in other cases. So I think that the market for like Netflix would go away if Steven could just host whatever movie he wants all the time on, or at least the market would be diminished. I think because people would just watch whatever movies they want with
even
Destiny.
not even close to it. Not even close. Okay, tonight you might watch a movie, right? You might watch a movie. Which one? Why? With who? At what time? All these components are key in what you're gonna watch.
It's free.
No, wait. There are a lot of components. There are a lot of reasons why you're gonna watch something, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so we agree with that. Okay, now, you think that Destiny watching fly over the cuckoo's nest at 3 a.m. in the morning is going to destroy the ecosystem and cannibalize the viewer base of Netflix?
Actually, it wouldn't be just Destiny, right?
Maybe not that case, but now imagine that everyone, right? Because you're not going to say that Destiny has better or more or less rights than someone else, right? Everyone else is similarly situated to Destiny in the
you
sense
have hundreds of thousands of streamers.
Right, they should have the same rights. At least you agree with that, right, X?
Wait. Sorry, what was that?
Everyone should have the same right to stream Oppenheimer that Destiny or you have, right?
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No, wait.
No. Wait, so only you guys.
No, hear him out. Wait, why not?
Because when it comes down to that form of content, the people. Okay, so here's that content. This is a watch party. It's a little bit different than just React, right? It's a little bit different. In my opinion, watch parties have to be a little more pure. It's why a lot of times they ask you to have camera upper left at small pixels. It's the actual finished product of the React. They expect it to be not too transformative. Actually, they don't want to do too much because it's just their vision for it. And I actually agree with that. I generally agree with that. And it's why some people that if they want to be full cam almost or 3/4 of the cam with their dick out, well, that's bad for the creative vision that was behind the movie initially, and I should be able to respect that. And when you do case by case basis,
no, you're wrong. Everyone should be able to, because so long as people find it transformative, then that's it.
Okay, so that's
because this guy.
Well, but XQC is saying the community needs to be there. If you don't have one,
so
it's not
20 viewer Andes can all have their movie streams. And so now you have every single movie has their own 20 viewer Andes stream.
Exactly. Yeah. If XQC can do it, every 20 viewer Andes can do it. That has to be the consistent argument, or else it's just retarded.
And to be honest with you, if you make the limit 20 viewers as well, you can just bot 20.
Yeah, sure. I don't know why you couldn't. And
you're right. So what you're saying is that there's an overlap in market with a certain movie or certain movies, and basically what you're saying is that some guy that really wants to watch Narnia will watch Destiny, right? When he's scratching his balls when the video has 8 minutes of runtime left, right? Because they probably missed the start time. They don't care about it, and then they'll click in. Like, I can watch Narnia. He clicks in. He's scratching his balls for 8 minutes. No, that doesn't cannibalize the market. It doesn't.
If on Monday Destiny watches Narnia, Tuesday Star Wars, Thursday Indiana Jones, when I go to watch Star Wars on Wednesday, I just look at Destiny's VOD and load up the chat, right?
Then I create an ecosystem where his movie choice is good, and I would like that, and Destiny has value at that point, past the value of the movie itself. Holy shit!
He can just host the movies, all the VODs of every single movie he's ever watched, with the chat right next to it.
Absolutely. And if people love it, that's great. I'm gonna say something even more weird. I think.
You agree with this? You think that this?
You agree with this dystopian universe?
Hey, look.
They laugh. You guys laugh, and I'll be right one day, and you're gonna look like a bunch of fucking clowns, bro.
I think if the market,
and you will be bald and broke.
True. I think if the market is demanding for it, I think we're essentially barring people from a product that they would actually really like. So I think it's bad for that reason. And I think if
the product they want is
Okay, Mark, send me TikToks.
Neurology.
Well, pick that shit.
Your own finger up.
Okay.
Your own finger up. could tell.
It's free movies.
We
The
bar
part
people
they
from
want
products
is-
they like all the time.
Yeah,
Hold up. And I think there's probably a world in there where I think some form of revenue sharing would be necessary. I think that's something that you could reasonably talk to me where it's like, you know, if you're going to create this experience, which is better than the original piece of art, then I think there should be a revenue split for the original creator in a way that's equitable, okay?
Yeah, I
that
think
would
that
be
should
something
be.
I would think would be reasonable.
A better point, Abbott, is why would
Everyone who watches, for a large segment of the audience who are watching these reactors or whatever it is, for them, the content that they're watching from the React channels is superior to the original. And so I think there's a service being rendered that I think we would be robbing people of. One,
Yeah.
I think there's
no incentive to make it anymore.
What was that?
There's no incentive to create this stuff anymore.
You're wrong if we don't. That's why I said if there was an equitable revenue share system.
Okay, so is X going to start
the
giving
actors
revenue to
can't
the
even
videos he
get-
covers?
They can't even get healthcare. They can't even get like profit sharing, and you want to take out their like last amount of income from Hollywood.
Oh
There's a big
my
strike
God.
right now from
Who
the writers.
invited Hassan? Kick Hassan out! What the fuck, man?
I disagree because even though there's a huge market for this React stuff, a lot of people still like watching it the original way in the format that it was meant to be.
Well, I thought X's point was that we're going to be moving toward everybody liking the social aspects
Yeah,
and
but
infect and
X
destroy the original
argued about-
markets.
X argued against himself this whole night and been wrong about his own value.
Well, but do you think he's right? Do you
That's
think he's
absolutely right.
wrong?
But just because he said it doesn't mean he's right about the future. I disagree with him on that point.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, I disagree that reactions. I disagree that reactions are 100% going to be the future. I think there's always going to be a market for people who just want to go to the movie theater and watch it with nobody fucking bothering them.
Wait, but why did you get the right to the reaction stream? Like, who gave you the right? Like, if there's a monetary avenue or pathway for someone to exploit the React market, why is that in Alba's hands for Star Wars Episode 7 and not in Disney's hands? Why do you get it?
Yo. Oh shit! Oh shit! You know what? Yeah, guys. Please hold on to that argument. I swear. Otherwise, I'm gonna lose my idea. Okay? I'm literally. I'm cutting you off. My bad. Okay, listen. Otherwise, I'm ADHD out of my idea and I'm gonna lose it. Listen. Wait for this. Okay? This is actually a decent argument. Okay? The components that are being misunderstood and deliberately mistalked about, a lot of this really small stuff adds up like crazy. And here's a good example. Okay? During World Cup for the fucking. Even though I don't even watch that much of soccer, right? There was World Cup happening with first soccer, right? Football, whatever you call it, right? And then I put 650K on a team. It was France or whatever the fuck, right? That they were gonna win, and I had talked about it, put that in, right? And everybody knew about it, the whole thing, and it wasn't even a big thing. I didn't think it, and during that day, I wasn't even reacting to the game. I didn't even have any of it on, right? I noticed after the stream, so you pointed out, oh, look at the stats. I look at my stats. I had like 30K more average views than I normally get, and I didn't pay attention to any of it. Right? People found value in that little storyline of that little bet. They're to the point where literally there was an increase of like 30%, 35% of viewers overall. That's insane. That is a crazy amount of value that you're losing just because of, oh, this has no value, lol W. I think that's wrong. I think you should be exposed to the maximum.
That's not. No, hold on. That's value to you. That's not value to the World Cup or to the fucking organizers.
Wrong.
I disagree.
How is that wrong?
Oh my God.
My viewers have one hand on the keyboard, one hand on their dicks, and they don't watch soccer. Yet they all cared that day. Why? Because I cared. That's
fucking stupid because that still just fucking benefited you. Did they go on and watch the other matches when you weren't reacting to it?
Wait,
hold on. I can say
now they're interested.
I can say this with 100% certainty. If a bunch of Twitch creators started streaming the World Cup and talking about it, I guarantee you that the World Cup viewership in the long run would grow tremendously. Massively. The reason being is that these people and their influence is a net benefit to soccer as a whole. Now, again, I still talk about the revenue share. What?
Are you communist? I mean, the
No.
reason these things are put
You
on
gotta
is...
wipe the cum off of your mouth, Abba, because that was the most retarded point you've made. Absolutely fucking.
Is that
not.
another
Because
guy?
at the end
Hold
of
on.
the-
What?
Yes, it's another guy. Okay, get away.
Hold on. This is how dumb you are, Q. They pay for
Okay, go ahead, explain.
they pay for celebrity endorsements every fucking year for people who know nothing about football because it benefits their sport. Having people who can get viewers onto a topic is always profitable. It's almost like you guys took marketing 101, threw it out the fucking window, and joined this conversation. It is always valuable to have people who have loud voices and reach to be interested in your fucking topic.
It's always
No,
valuable
no,
in
no, no,
every
no, no.
case.
Always,
Hold on,
every
hold on,
time.
hold on. You know that the entire argument that X is pushing forth is when I am involved and I transform it enough, that's when people get interested. Nobody would have fucking watched Lemino's video from my fucking community if I didn't fucking react to it. That's what he's fucking saying.
How about
And
I tell
guess
you
what?
this? How about I tell you
What?
this? He doesn't have
What?
to transform it. He could literally just show up on screen and be like, "We're watching soccer, and it's a benefit to football as a whole."
So we should
No,
just
next
stream the
time,
World
next
Cup.
time, maybe
He doesn't have to make it transformative. It doesn't even matter. Him
I'm saying
being
it's enough.
him being interested in it benefits the sport.
Well, say it then. That anyone can stream the World Cup, and they should be able to and allowed to.
Yeah. Abba, out of curiosity, why do you think we ended up this way?
No, not anyone's Abba. No,
Hold on. Listen to what
That's
I'm
why he won't say
saying.
it.
I have said from the beginning, from a legal standpoint, I disagree with it. From a moral standpoint, I think it is a net positive. and I
Okay,
would-
but if they benefit, why would they have made laws to prevent it?
because they're thinking about the short-term financial gain. That's what I believe.
Like they're foolish. They don't realize they could
Yeah,
win.
so you don't
Also,
stand
hold on,
for their
hold on,
bottom line, they-
hold on,
they-
hold on.
Wait, no. Let me tell you. If there was no value in that, then we wouldn't have music streaming these days, music downloads, any of that. We'd still have CDs and cassettes. We don't have that shit.
And
That's
also,
just that's distribution. That's not the same
and
thing.
a lot of sports have already begun doing watch parties or watch alongs for their sports because they see the benefit of having these audiences interested. That's why they're partnering up with creators and stuff like that to create those kind of watch events. So yes, it could be archaic. Maybe they haven't advanced in terms of the world of marketing. It could be the fact that they've not caught on to this technology, which a lot of industries haven't. But the truth is, all these watch parties these viewers bring. How about take fucking what's his name, Speed? Him showing an interest in football has gotten a bunch of Americans who never gave a shit about football obsessed with Ronaldo and obsessed with the sport of football as a result. It is absolutely changing the way people consume this content.
Who should get the right?
Yeah,
to
hold
react?
on. Let me use your logic. One second. Let me use your logic out. But if fucking X reacted to Oppenheimer, why the fuck would then the audience, like let's say 60, 70,000 people that watch this fucking watch along part, whatever the fuck, why would they go to the cinema and pay for some shit that they got for free?
Which
Why
is
the fuck
why,
would they
hold
do
on,
that?
which is why I said earlier there should be an equitable way to have some revenue share. I agree that they would
Even
lose
on
in
the stream,
Oh,
not on
and-
the
and-
network.
and
Yeah,
also-
I think that's the future. I think
Also,
the future is
also
you-
embargoes. Timed embargoes are fine.
Well,
That's
wait,
okay,
but-
dude.
But does that go for YouTube content as well that he reacts to? Like the videos does that go for that as well, or is it only for
Yes.
fucking
Yeah.
movies?
Yes, I tweeted that, and I told YouTube to do that, actually. That's how much I believe in it. 100%, yeah. What about it?
I agree. I think there should be a revenue system for the original content. And I'm not even mad at that. Even for me, I would think that was something equitable, even for my channel.
Yeah, the revenue stream is
hang
called
on, though.
copyright. The revenue stream is called copyright, and that gives you the
No,
exclusive
it's
right
not.
to make
No, it's
copies.
not. No, it's
Yes,
not.
it is. Of course it is.
It's not. But
Yo,
we just
Captain, yo, Law Andy, bro, where's your degree, man? What is wrong with this guy, bro?
Well, wait, he is a lawyer.
He is.
He
a
is.
fucking lawyer, by the way.
Ah.
Also, I'm confused. Like you saying that in the perfect world you would be having a revenue split, but you're not making that happen right now. You're just taking the videos anyway.
What, do you want me to
No, he's
start hitting up?
waiting for
Hold on.
it.
Do you want me to start asking all these people and be like, yo, what? How,
If
what
you
do think about?
react to, well, no, I'm asking, do you actually believe in it or not? If you
He's
I
want-
asking stop being a virtue signaling bitch and actually do it before it's forced upon you. That's
Oh my
what he's
God,
fucking
yeah.
saying.
That's
Go
what
and
I'm
actually
saying.
pay these fucking
Listen.
people on your own fucking podcast.
Hold on. I will 100% say this topic is not that important to me that I would go through the efforts to set
Oh
up.
my
Shut
God,
the
you're
fuck
a
up!
bitch.
Shut the
You're a
fuck up
bitch.
and let me
You're a
finish my
bitch.
answer, Q.
Let Abba
Shut up.
finish. Let Abba finish.
That I would put in the effort to figure out a payment system that would work this well. Now, if YouTube implemented, I would process it and I would go through it. You're asking me to create the system. Like, oh, why don't you just set it all up? It would be very
Basically, you're
difficult.
just no. Basically, you're just virtue signaling, acting like you give a fuck by saying, you know what? I'd 100% be down to fucking give a fucking rest split with these fucking guys that I'm reacting to because I'm making money off of their content. But I'm not gonna go out of my fucking way to do anything because you know what?
real
I
quick.
don't really care
Hold
that
on,
much.
real quick. I think we all agree with Abba. I think that like the perfect comparison of this is way back in the day. A lot of people used to pirate games, but oftentimes it's just because that was the easiest way to get the game. Sometimes you didn't have the money, but like we would pirate music games just because that was the easiest way to get it. But if you provide like an easy way to pay for it, people would do it. Like, and that was what Steam did. And when Steam came out, people buy so many games that they have no problem like buying games they'll never even play. So I think that
little Steam, it's not that hard. It's not that hard.
Yeah, you said there's no easy way to compensate the creators.
DM them. It's very easy. You DM
No,
them and you fucking figure
it's
an
not.
agreement with them.
This is how I know, and this is why you have no following, because you don't understand the system in place.
There we go.
I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna finish.
Call him broke.
Excuses in here.
Now tell him he's poor. Tell him.
Okay,
now tell me
muting.
some more.
Stop.
Listen,
Hold on.
all right.
Okay, you guys need to.
I'm gonna finish.
Wait. I know. Just everybody here. The energy is very high. There's a lot of people in here. Everybody needs to calm down.
Chill out.
The process of trying to get paid or being able to pay everyone would be very difficult. One, if you've ever had to work with content creators in regards to ad placements, things like that, they're notoriously bad for responding. They're bad about getting all these things set up. Everything is a time-taking process. In terms of administrative burden for me, it would be immense to be able to set up the system in place. Everything shows that when you make a lot of things convenient, vast majority of people will go that route, even if it's ethical. But if the ethical thing is very difficult to do, a lot of people will skirt around it. They will go around it. That's true for a lot of different things, like the pirating example you gave, or other things like that. So you're just factually wrong about how easy it is. There's no other system in place.
If I genuinely, go ahead. Oh, thanks. Like, if you genuinely believe that people should be paid, like I probably would as well. If I was to watch your video and barely react to it, and then in my own head be like, oh shit, I should probably compensate him for this. I don't need like a system set in place to make me do it or to know exactly what I believe. It's actually better now than then because I can decide what I believe is worth, what I believe I've taken from you without you getting compensated. I can compensate you directly. I can donate to you.
So even then, it's not about what I decide. What if you, the person I'm reacting to, disagree with the amount? Then we have a negotiation process, which is more administrative burden. That way, if there was already a system in place, the revenue share would be based off an equation that we all agree to.
I'm
talking about streamlining it to make it easy as possible. You're not actually considering all the parameters.
Here's the thing that every single streamer here would agree with. If there was a way that you could click a button on a video where it's like $20 to have on your YouTube channel, I think every streamer here or in YouTube would be totally fine with paying for that. Right?
Yeah, I think XQC is talking about like the future of different like video watch parties and stuff. I think it would be a huge task, but if there was a way to integrate like all the different platforms in a way that you could like give permission so that you get like a percentage of the view count added to your actual views. And
yeah, we would do it. That'd be amazing.
And you know what? I will quadruple down to the point where it's gonna make you mauled. I think some of you guys in here are actual like socialists, like the values, communist Andes. I'm gonna call your ass out. I believe that there's value to these companies, and some people are really gonna get paid to watch it. Let alone pay them to watch it. They will get paid to watch it because these systems are top heavy as fuck. It is so, and it's unfair. And it's just the way it is. And I think fighting that is stupid as fuck. I think it's ass backwards.
I think Destiny's the communist. He's the one who says he shouldn't have any copyrights, and then it should all be spread, and he should be able to make Star Wars 10.
Our content.
I don't know why you guys don't think that creators should have any control over their expressions. The whole reason why there are burdens to
control over their expressions. You gotta hardcore define that because
the
everybody's
exclusive right to make copies, derivative works.
Yeah, the argument that everyone here is using, the reason why we don't really believe in exclusive rights here is because that seems to be a detriment to every single actor in the space except for the person creating the content. That's been the prevailing argument.
Because you want to encourage the creation of these works in the first place. I don't know why there would be a reason to treat.
The reason why copyright. Hold on. The reason.
Oh, you didn't know what I was going to ask, right?
Well, but what you just said doesn't make sense. The reason why you have an exclusive right to create copies is because you're protecting a potential future revenue stream. 99% of the time. That's why we talk about exclusive copyrights. But the argument.
Not always. Whoa. Not always. We were just talking before. XQC mentioned that one of the reasons why he wants exclusive rights to copies is he doesn't want to be associated with any bad people who are making poisonous shirts or who are making bad shirts. And so the copyright.
Wait, that might be true, but copyright already doesn't protect you from that. Too. Copyright already doesn't protect you from that necessarily.
Tell me more about that.
There are ways theoretically that people can incorporate things into their content that you don't want to be associated with. I might not want to be associated with Ben Shapiro in any way, size, shape, or form. That doesn't mean that he can't cover my commentary with some fair use application as well.
Okay, now you're mistaken because now what you're talking about is whether or not your copyright extends to cover fair uses of your work, which of course it doesn't.
Sure, but I'm just saying that if your entire point of copyright was to protect you from being associated with things you don't want to associate with, that doesn't make sense because fair use defeats that point. So that argument makes no sense. The whole
no. Yeah, it doesn't defeat that argument. So if you are someone who's going to be infringed upon, there are a lot of situations in which you might not want that monetary stream. You might not agree with having. You might not agree with Netflix. You might not agree with movies on demand. You might not. You ever read Calvin and Hobbes? Anybody? It's a kid and the tiger thing. He didn't want any of his stuff made into movies because he just didn't want it, and his copyright protected derivative works, and so no movies about Calvin and Hobbes exist. You might disagree with it, but the copyright extends to protect those interests.
Sure, it could, but I think the argument that we're making
does.
here before.
Don't just say it could because you lost that
most
argument.
most of your arguments are completely defeated by if you
Oh,
endlessly
oh
qualify.
no, you just lost that argument. You said it was all about monetary streams, and you were wrong.
The main purpose that we're talking about in here is generally monetary streams. That's what everybody in here has been talking about the entire time.
You might be talking about that, but
that's what we're all talking about. You might want to talk about something, but that's what all of us are talking about. Is future
other people care about copyright for other
sure.
things.
Well, all of us in here are talking about the ability to lose money on your content, and so far that's something that hasn't
not
been
anymore.
demonstrated.
Now we're talking about more than that.
That's fine, but that hasn't been demonstrated. So as long as that hasn't been demonstrated,
mentioned...
that's one of the reasons why most people in here didn't care as much about it.
Remember, you mentioned people like tearing up your work and repurposing it for their own like purposes. You'd want to be able to protect against that as well, right?
Theoretically, but they can do that in a fair use way that you might still have a problem with.
I wouldn't if it was fair use, if it actually qualifies, because that sounds like criticism.
That's fine, but there are some people, for instance, that I would, if I had my choice, I might never want them criticizing my work. I might never want like Nick Fuentes or the Stormfront like using any part of my content to spread their message, but they might have a fair use application that would allow them to do so.
So at that point, yeah, I would. I mean, I think they should be allowed to do that even if you don't want them to.
I'm just saying that if your original intention of the fair use here, or the original intention of copyright is, I don't want to be associated with certain people, it doesn't necessarily protect you from that. What it should protect you, the primary purpose of copyright is what it should protect you for is the exclusive right to make copies of your content in a non-transformative way to
and
do
derivative works.
And
right?
derivative works. Isn't a derivative work non-transformative?
Wait, no, a derivative work is very transformative, isn't it? Don't you agree?
I thought the whole point of a derivative work was that it didn't meet the standards for transformative.
Well, a derivative work is one of the many exclusive rights that copyright gives you. And so
you
if
mean
you
like
want to make like a sequel, like a different version of the same thing. Like let's say that, remember those Game Boy versions of movies, right? That's a derivative work of the original movie. I don't know, the original Pokemon movie. Maybe you have a Game Boy version of that you have the right to make it, or maybe you don't want someone to be.
Okay, sure. Then what I just said can apply to derivative works as well, and I don't think it changes what I was saying.
Yeah, but why do you think that copyright should have so little consideration that anyone can make, just by, do you agree with Abba that just by having a chat, you should be able to like...
Yeah, I was actually going to ask if you consider that transformative destiny. Do you personally think that's transformative?
I would never use transformative in a casual sense. I would use transformative in terms of like the law, and transformative, just having a chat there probably doesn't meet that standard.
You don't like have your own view on what transformative should qualify as rather than what the law is?
Oh, here it comes, guys. We're gonna have an era of people that are just changing the color schemes, using chroma keys or opacity, and backwards fucking reversal, like half time, the 0.8 time fucking bullshit. It's gonna be a disaster. You don't want none of that. I swear you don't want that. Or the guy who watches the UFC through his glasses, or like fake playing the game. Oh man, bro. We've been through these fucking hoops before.
Can I ask a question real quick? As a small content creator.
Wait, hold on. Wait, there's so many people in here. Why?
Wait. It's Philly. Let him go. Wait,
it's gonna be Destiny.
Okay, go. Quick question. Go.
Yeah. So, as a small content creator, if according to Abba and XQC, like if my content is like I make a lot of like videos about gang violence and stuff. So say like a very racist, like the neo-Nazis got a hold of my video and they made a video reacting to it, but was just saying like a bunch of racist shit and just completely distorting my work. I should have no recourse in that. Like, is that what you guys are?
No, that's how the law works right now, and that probably should be the case. If somebody's making fair commentary or criticism on your work, then that is a protected right in the United States. Yeah.
But what if it isn't fair commentary and criticism?
Then it would fall under copyright protections. You could DMCA it or sue them. But I think the law accounts for both sides of these. Yeah.
But are we talking about your perfect will, not law?
Yeah, what you guys are arguing for is that I shouldn't have any recourse in that.
Oh, is that what you guys said?
Well, yeah, X, because your argument theoretically earlier was that like if people want to take and use your content, then they should just be allowed to.
Yeah, exactly. It's just whenever you put it in a harsh way, you kind of baiting me and make an argument that will make me look like a racist or some shit, which is really odd. To be honest, because I generally like. I still hold my argument. I just don't want to say, whoa, guys, well, yeah, you should be allowed to be racist. Well, that's not what I meant at all.
Right, but what you're arguing for would allow for that. Like, there's no caveat that says how you can behave. What you're saying is I should have full rights to do whatever I want with this person's content as long as I'm
your own finger off without even trying. The only thing stopping you is your brain.
Hey guys, neurology major here. And yeah, that is true. We could bite off our fingers if we wanted to, but our brain is like, no, because our nerves are actually coated in this thin substance called riboflavin, which helps to prevent.
You can tear your own finger off without even trying. The only thing stopping you is your brain.
Hey guys, neurology major here. And yeah, that is true. We could bite off our fingers if we wanted to, but our brain is like, no, because our nerves are actually coated in this thin substance called riboflavin, which helps to prevent.
You can tear.
You know, they're reacting to it as long as chat's there. I can, you know, basically do whatever I want with this person's content.
Yeah, I still agree. I mean, we still do that to this day, though, don't we? We use old books and old things that were meant to be used a certain way, and we reference it, and then we use it in commentary and whatever the fuck, and we go directly against it. And I think that's still within the bound of the laws, and I think that's fair enough.
Okay. All right. I'm not here to argue. I just wanted to just ask that real quick. All right. Thanks. Bye.
Careful.
Okay, quick update to everybody in chat. Abba had to leave the call because he's busy wiping excuses come off of his fucking mouth. Number one. Number two.
Your arguments are little
your
dog
arguments
shit.
literally don't make any fucking sense. You know that, right? You're saying because I have a lot of fucking.
This guy's like John Zerka on two books. Like, holy shit.
Okay, don't fucking do that shit. That's fucking pathetic. Number one. Number two, your argument is because I have a lot of fucking clout, I should react and do whatever the fuck I want because I'm providing value in terms of fucking viewership. Now, of course, you're not making any fucking money, let me know, or fucking Nolan with your fucking Oppenheimer movie, but you should be grateful that I'm getting people into your shit in the future. That's a terrible fucking argument. If I saw all of your fucking VODs and I just uploaded everything and I started making fuck ton of money without you doing shit, because in reality, you don't do shit. You're not fucking Jinx or Flight or any of these 2016, 17 YouTubers that actually transform the content that they watch. Most streamers are lazy as fuck. You basically don't do shit with your reactions. You just sit there and fucking pull funny faces.
Is this guy trolling? Bro, Flight will literally fall asleep on, or smoke weed during content. What are you talking about? Is this guy high?
You literally fight that shit.
Oh my god!
You literally betrayed your own fucking argument right now. You're saying by you just sitting there and you having your own fucking clout, that just helps it. So if Flight is fucking doing the same thing, it's transformative to you, no?
Yes. All I'm saying is that I think there's a world where that ecosystem is fine, and people are like, yeah, I want that. This is good, whatever. And I only people should go on it. No, it's Nova default and ask permission. Bro, you can talk, you can interact, you can make these systems work. You can make like libraries and shit. There's ways to do it.
Now listen, I think we agree. First of all, I fuck with React content. I like React content since 2017. I think React content is dope. As long as you're fucking giving credit to the guy who fucking made the video, and long as they're cool with it, if they're cool with it, then it's fine. If Let Me Know said, yo, I'm cool with X reacting to my video, it's fine. Yeah, so I don't have a problem with you doing that shit. But let's just agree that you taking from them does kind of fucking fuck their shit up. Because that's a viewer that they could have had.
Wait. So you're saying that the guy says yes, and you say no. So if I go to your ex-girlfriend and I seduce her and we start f***ing, and you say, well, no, I don't agree. Like, this doesn't make me wrong. Okay. Like, what the f***?
This is not even fucking analogous. This is not fucking analogous.
If you say no!
That doesn't. Okay. Relax, buddy. Number one. Number two, if the guy that you want to react to says no, you're not gonna react to him, right?
What?
If the guy that you want to react to his fucking video, if there's a YouTuber you want to react to his video, and you reach out to him, because I assume you reach out to these people before you react to the content.
Okay, not before, let him after.
Okay, now you do it, right? And he says no, you're not gonna react to his shit, right?
Wait.
If he says no, don't react to my shit. You're not gonna react, right?
All targets you could find for this argument, you found the worst guy out there. I will clap your cheeks. Not only do they get asked about, I literally have a system with them, so it's yes and no's, and some people I've stopped watching the videos, and it's all fixed, and everybody's happy. I have no problems with anybody right now.
Okay, again, We agree there. But the only place we don't agree is when you say that you're actually providing any value. You provide value for yourself, like you said with the World Cup example. Your viewership
It's not
increased.
exclusive. It's both, Brett.
No, it's not. No, it's not. What did Lemino benefit from your shit? What the fuck did he benefit from your shit? He didn't benefit shit. His video was already doing great.
Hey, kid. Listen. Here's the benefit. You are talking about him right now. That right there is in a value. Right, you just proved me right.
Money?
By
does he get money? Does he get money?
You
the stupid
talking about him right now. You proved me right.
I don't give a fuck about. No, I didn't prove
You
you right. I think
spoke about
monetary value.
right
Monetary
now.
value. Monetary value.
You are
Does he get money?
mauled.
Does he
You
get
are
money?
mauled.
Does he get money? You weigh 120 soaking wet. Stop talking shit. Does he get money from
The
you talking
views
about
he
him?
got, he's gonna get extra. From all that, we'll give him money and we'll give him views. Yes, he will make money about that.
It's because XQC reacted to him. It's because XQC is ripping off content. That's the fucking headline, right? It's not because XQC is reacting to him, right?
Then why do I care? Why do you make it whatever you call it? It's not what it is. If you're mad about it,
sure,
you are not him. You are not him.
Stop trying to fucking
You
put me
are
in a box of money.
not
I don't care.
him.
But you're trying to act like every video that you react to has the same exposure as the Let Me Know one. You've reacted to a billion things on your fucking stream. They don't all go as fucking viral as this
They still
one.
benefit, and after that are not cannibalistic in behavior whatsoever. It is not cannibalistic, and there's no data behind it that will show that it is. And if there is, I am waiting for you to show me. Otherwise, your argument falls
let me ask you. Okay, let me ask you this. Do you think they monetarily fucking benefit? Do you think the people that you react to
down the line
they
do? Yes.
How do you prove that shit? Okay, you made the statement. Go prove it. Down the line, they make fucking money. Prove it.
Wait, you make the claim. You make the claim that they don't, right?
You just made the claim that they do. That's no. It's on you to fucking prove it.
Wait.
You can't. They absolutely don't.
Wait a minute.
They make more money. They don't.
Wait. It's literally all on Twitter. I don't even have to go dig it up now. It's all out there. The people have shown stat increases across their other videos and increases when React kicked in. Even if a little bit, it's still a positive, and that equates to dollar amounts, and that is tangible. And you're not the guy who's gonna say, "Do not rob this guy. I know everything." Who are you?
Whoa, hold on.
You are not.
No. You're fighting shadows. You're being fucking retarded right now. I don't care if you.
Yeah, you're a shadow. You are a shadow. You're right. You're a shadow. You are that. You are a shadow.
Okay, thank God you have money, because that's the only thing that's holding your fucking skinny ass.
That's right. And I got a whole bunch of it. And I got a whole bunch of it. So get fucking seated. Get seated and get ready to hear about me, bro. I'm loaded the fuck out. Holy shit.
Listen, X, I don't care that you react to fucking content. What I fucking give a slight shit about is you trying to fucking cope with yourself and lie and say, you know what? These people benefit so much from me reacting to them that it's good for them. They should be fucking thankful that I'm reacting to them.
I didn't say that.
Wait, you literally just said they benefit down the line. They make more money.
They do, but I didn't do the little attitude of they should thank me for that. They should thank me.
But you also said that only big guys should have these fucking contracts or these things where they get to react to fucking content or to watch parties. That's what Alba pushed back against. He was like, no, it should be open to everybody. When you were like, no, it should be open to
like, because it's about the creative vision. If you had any, you wouldn't be in this room right now, bitch ass. You get that?
In the same room as
it's
me,
about
bitch ass.
the creative vision. Yo,
what's the creative vision behind you reacting to shit, you lazy bitch? What's the creative vision between putting a tiny fucking webcam
before we did that shit? It wasn't around that much, especially for live content. We are visionaries. You are ancestral.
Buddy, you're not a fucking
visionary. You are Babylonian. You are old.
If I was talking to fucking Dixie, you'd be a visionary. You're not a fucking visionary. You were an Overwatch Andy.
You are mad. You are mad because you are bad.
Brother, you fucking found the wheel 1,000 years after it was invented, and now you're acting as though you fucking came up with a new thing.
Okay, and what have you come up with except for talking shit?
The only thing you came up with is the most retarded fucking arguments to fucking cope with the shit that you're fucking doing.
I get it. He's another one of these guys that's mad because people are banking on low effort when he's making nothing of a high effort.
Wait, hold on. You admit that it's low effort. You admit that you're not really doing much, but you call it creative genius.
Yes.
Where's the creative genius behind it? Okay, tell me the creative genius behind you.
It's the social aspect behind it, the chat aspects, and how these are exploited to make a better, full-fledged product that people enjoy watching more than enjoy watching your ass do whatever the fuck you do, bitch.
Okay,
it's so simple.
But then guess what? I could fucking go watch the Super Bowl, or I could watch the World Cup final socially with my fucking friends, with my fucking people. And
But
guess
you have no
what?
friends though.
They
But you have no
paid
friends,
for
though.
it.
Oh.
You didn't pay for shit. Yeah, I have fucking friends, nigga. The only friends you have are niggas that are trying
You
to
fell
slurp
for
with
the
your fucking
bait.
skinny ass dick.
He
you
fell
bitch
for the
ass nigga.
bait.
Shut the
Brother,
fuck-
brother,
Yeah,
brother.
congratulations. You fucking made a shit joke and I fucking played
No,
off
no,
of
no,
it.
no, no. You fell for the bait. The whole point. The whole point is that people on the internet have no friends, and they're gonna watch it with their internet people and internet communities, and they don't have friends. It gives value for them, even though you might go watch it with your friends. They don't have that option.
Let me
They
ask
watch
you,
it.
okay,
They watch it in chat instead.
Okay,
Dumbass.
okay, sure. All your fucking juicers are some fucking lonely motherfuckers, and they're
That's
parasocially
right.
attached to you, and
Yes.
that's why they watch. Okay, perfect. I understand. Cool. That makes sense. I agree with you. But would you be willing? Let's say if Chris Nolan or whatever the fuck his name is, Christopher Nolan, he says, okay, X, pay 100,000, and I'll let you react to my goddamn fucking movie with your chat. Would you pay it?
Oh, fuck yeah. But then I'll make an event out of it.
So you're down for compensating people for the fucking work. You're open to actually compensate. It's not only permission.
Wait,
it's
to
not
be
only,
clear, I
hey,
think
you
all
better-
of us said that, right?
I've always said that.
No,
I said
but
that-
he's also he's
No,
trying to argue right now.
I
that-
said I would pay them. They can claim the videos. They can take them down. I would give them my rev. I'm
Wait,
open
okay,
for
so
and
you-
even when we
wait,
talk
wait,
together,
hold
we do some stuff that's fun.
Okay, so you're completely 100 billion% open to give, when you react to shit and you upload it to YouTube, you're open to give the fucking money from that YouTube revenue to the
All
fucking
of it.
creator, the
All
stream
of
money,
it.
all of it.
Yes, 100%.
Okay, that are complaining about this is retarded. If that's the case, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yep.
If this is willing to give you the fucking money he makes off of the fucking reactions, you take that fucking deal. I don't
Now
have a
you
problem
get
with
it.
that.
Now you
No,
get
that's
it.
good.
Now
No, no,
you
that's
actually
good.
get it. But the thing is, my problem with all this hasn't been the problem. Like the people that are complaining is that they complain on other people's behalf because the people that are on the receiving end or on the robbed end of it, they don't even agree with the people that are fighting for them. They don't because they enjoy the ecosystem that we've created.
Okay, so if the people that you're fucking pulling content from are more than happy to give it to you because they're like, this is fucking cool that you're reacting to it, I don't mind. All I'm saying is, when you decide to argue that you're a creative genius because of this React fucking meta, you're not.
I am.
No, you're not. You're not. It's okay, right? When you decide to argue that because I react to somebody, their fucking future videos do way better for way longer, therefore they make way more money. I'm kind of still fucking getting them paid in some ways. Therefore, it's beneficial. That's the only part of your argument I have a problem with. Everything else makes sense. But when you try to claim that you're actually super helpful, when in all reality, you're still kind of slightly fucking them over because that's a viewer that they could have had. Because if I watch their reaction, fucking let me know. Why the fuck would I ever watch his video? That's
Damn.
it. That's it.
You know what? It's kind of sad you went to this argument because we went against it earlier of that one thing. Most of my viewers, not every one of them, they would not watch that particular content if we weren't watching it here at that time. They actually wouldn't. The overlap is not only negligible, it's almost non-existent compared to the opposite. You would have to prove the opposite. When would I have to prove that? Because my overlap is proven to not be there. So you're wrong, flat out.
Okay, okay. Let me argue this then. If we're seeing YouTube videos and we're seeing them same as movies, right? You're seeing them the same, right? You would pay for both equally. You don't have a problem with giving the fucking movie studio money. You don't have a problem with giving the YouTuber money. If everybody, because we're not talking about XQC only. If everybody decided, because you said you're a creative fucking genius, you're a visionary. You're the one who's pioneering the new movement. If everybody started doing what XQC, you love that, you fucking bitch ass nigga. Okay, if everybody decided to do what you're doing and decided to react to fucking movies, decided to react to fucking content that's behind the paywall, why would they then go watch the original content? There's no point. Maybe for YouTube videos, there's no overlap.
We just went over that because they wanted to watch it here with us.
Everybody would have the
because they
money
have no
that you pay.
friends.
No, wait, hold on. But at the end of the day, you said shit is top heavy, and you're against shit being top heavy. You want everybody to fucking eat, and you think React is gonna help people eat, right?
Fuck that shit. No, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if they eat, bro.
No, because at the end of the day,
I'm not gonna virtue signal.
It only benefits you, right?
Oh my god, you misinterpreted everything that I said. You misinterpreted everything. I don't give a fuck to spread the wealth or do whatever the fuck. I'm not gonna virtue signal that's the main point here. That has nothing to do with it. I still think that has positive effects to do that. Literally. It is not negligible, the positive impacts. But I'm not gonna say that that's the whole point of it. I'm not saying that. When did I say that?
So what's the main point behind the shit that you do? It's just that it's
because I want to have fun. Yeah.
And if you could help fucking people out by paying for shit, you're gonna pay for it.
I would give them a 10x depending on their size. Yes.
Okay. All right, then we agree. Honestly, we agree. Then there's no problem.
Cool then.
Yeah.
That sounds fair enough, to be honest. I'm okay with that resolution.
But start reacting to my video. I'm not gonna lie.
They
Start reacting to my video. Start reacting to my video. React to my videos. I'm gonna get paid.
I win.
React to my videos. React to my videos.
Instant win.
Guys, I'm not. Instant win. No, it's an instant win when I get that fucking wire transfer, buddy. React to my shit. What the fuck?
I like how he got the John's.
This is the greatest scam of all time. What the fuck? He's gonna pay me 10x.
I like how he got the Zerka. He called the Zerka in 5 minutes.
Every time you're on stream, nigga. Every time.
Okay, you guys are done. Okay, thank you. Okay, how do you got your debate prep, Max? How you feeling?
Yeah.
They should make like a YouTube premium for streamers.
Stop.
You know what
No,
I mean?
just
You pay for it, it gives them like a cut. Just for like all the
Wait,
content
Darius, shut the fuck up. Kick.com/KarantosQORA.
Oh my god.
Kill yourself.
Okay.
You know what, Disney? Disney, the reason why I didn't react, and I don't think you should react to people playing that shit, you wanna know why it's like that?
Yeah, why?
Because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters with getting people's attention, right, and actually making good content is substance. And substance is something you create by doing things of value. And I don't give a fuck if somebody's struggling already. When they're plugged their shit, I don't feel threatened. I don't know why. Because even though they might go there, they won't stay there. Because the people has failed to create value time and time again. It's why they have to plug. The fact that they plug is the reason why they have to plug. Does that make sense? So it's like
Wait, who asked X?
Oh my god.
Wait, who asked?
Like clearly none of your viewers, there's none here. Holy fuck.
Who asked?
This guy. Oh
okay,
my god.
Plug, there's nothing wrong with plugging, by the way. I'm sure your ass fucking plugged shit back in 2016, okay? Listen, you can't knock a brother because he's on his early part of his journey, or you're at the end, okay?
That's fine.
Okay, relax, okay?
Listen,
if you're on
I
foot
don't
shorty, you
knock
might
it.
actually look human. Go ahead, you don't knock it, but what?
No, I don't knock it. I think there's even comical value to some of it if you provide content. I think you're pretty funny, to be honest. And I don't have no problem with this interaction. You provide enough content for this broadcast to be valued, at least with some sort of exposure, right? And when you plug it, I don't care. If you went here and you were like, guys, I don't agree, guys, and he said, Twitch.tv/bumfuck. And it's like, oh, come on, man. Like, at least give us some value, right? That's what it is when it comes to React. And that's the whole basis of it. That's the whole basis of my argument, especially with React 2. It's the same thing.
So basically, I provided enough transformative content to this broadcast that I've earned the right to shout myself out. Just like you did with your reactions, basically. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But next time you're gonna compliment me, at least, you know, tell me you're gonna go downstairs. Because right now, like, no, I didn't know you were gonna glaze me that hard.
You know, it sounds like, hey, it doesn't. You know what it sounds like? It sounds like Slicker in the beginning.
No, I sound like Zerk the Slicker.
Loud and annoying. Loud and annoying. No substance, and ends up quitting.
Okay, yo,
but I have all hopes, you know. I hope that you do. I hope you do well, though. I promise. Listen, when you make it, listen. You can say I was your biggest hater. Okay.
Wait, no, wait. I already have a lot of those. Okay, but if I'm like Slicker, yo, King, can I borrow like 10K?
Oh, here it comes.
What? You said I'm like Slicker.
I knew it.
What? Yo, King, help a brother out. I assumed you helped Slicker. What the fuck? Actually, you paid for the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, I did.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
He owes me 200K.
Wait, are you actually expecting him to pay everything back?
No, but I mean, I know he won't. But the whole point, the whole narrative of it is that he should, right? That was the whole.
So you're not
narrative
gonna
of it.
say no. You're not gonna say no if he's like.
I'm
"Yo,
not.
I'll
I'm
stop
not. I'm
paying
not
you."
saying no. I know it's not gonna happen, but I mean that's the whole that was the whole gist of it, right? Is that if down the line he'll pay or he strikes gold and boom, sure, I'll take it, right? But it was all about the victims, not about the perpetrator in this instance, and that's why I did it. It was about the victims.
It was not about getting paid back. It's about helping them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because I heard the stories and it was really bad, so I was like, fuck it.
Yeah, okay, I'll fuck with that.
The girl with the cancer. Oh my god.
Yeah,
oh, listen,
yeah.
Don't do it. No, stop. Don't talk about Lupelli. Stop.
Bro, Slicker.
Stop.
Jesus,
I mean, the father one was a lot worse than the cancer one, to be honest. But you don't need to get into it, okay?
Well,
listen,
it was kind of cool.
It's an addiction, okay? People make fucked up shit.
I'd love to talk about like the good things I do, like a fucking donator of charity, savior of the world, right? But I did see one guy that I helped out. I think it was Luke. I saw him at a party today, and it was kind of wholesome. So you know, these are the things that I'm being paid back in how would you say, like nice,
For
refreshing
happiness?
story. Yeah, a little bit of happiness like that. So I'm being paid back slowly. You get it?
Being
Little
paid
Steve,
back
you
and
heard?
good vibes, you know?
Stop donating to the fucking Atlanta PD and maybe donate to the fucking St. Jude's Hospital next time. That's what he's basically telling you, Little Steve. You know what I mean?
I bet the Atlanta
Wait.
PD puts a lot of people in the hospital, so, you know.
Okay, dude.
Oh my god. Disney always finds a way to get them, makes things really fucking sour.
What did I make sour?
Man, that is fucking.
Hey, Freakazoid, thanks for
Next time he's gonna say that they're breakdancing on. Okay, I'm not.
Oh yeah, that break George Floyd's neck was crazy.
Oh my god, guys!
Literal life, buddy.
Jesus! You have to finish the joke, like Christ.
It was a good joke though, but like,
Yeah, that was Destiny's joke. Yeah, good delivery for sure.
I think you're ready for your debate with Ethan.
No, I think I'm ready to lose, but you know what? I'll
No, I
get
think
more
you
impressions
sharpened.
by losing than by winning, to be honest.
I think
Well, the
I think
main-
you sharpened tonight. You know, I think you
The
got
main
it.
thing
A
to
little bit.
remember is you're going to be talking to an audience that aren't as familiar at all with all of these like background positions you have. I think that you need to make those clear before you fall into like a trap of
Wait,
Ethan's
why
going
are
to be judging
you
you on his
helping? This
terms.
guy, this guy's like the enemy of all the React people right
Oh,
now.
so
or the
I was
YouTubers,
actually
so
going to say,
careful.
Jesse, do you remember your debate with Big Joel?
Yeah, I hate that fucking guy. I know.
So you were kind of locked out by the end of it because he basically conceded that yes, no matter what the property is being threatened, let them steal it. Like
Yeah.
he basically gave it. So at that point, it's like there's nothing you could do. It's like yeah, sure, I guess. And that's how I feel with X. I pretty much fully understand your worldview and what you believe is happening, and therefore it's like all right, you know, I wouldn't do it. I don't think it's the right thing to do, but I understand why you do, and you know that's going to be a big hurdle with Ethan because he's gonna come at you with all of the worst ways to present your POV and how it affects the world.
Yeah,
sort of
but
thing.
Also, there was something he forgets that yes, some of his viewers like old, but a lot of them aren't as old as him, right? And a lot of his arguments come out of touch, and people can really feel that. And when you compound these arguments a lot, you tend to lose the optics battle, which is the only reason how I'm gonna win I could win the optic battle is that he's just gonna self-sabotage in that regard, right? Because otherwise he wins by optics by default, just based off of his position, right? It'd be like trying to say like racism is good, right? It's like a terrible position, terrible bad optics. I mean, you have to hope that your opponent would sabotage his position or his optics for you to look better in that point, right?
Because like I've seen the clips of him, he hates you, right? Like he's
Yeah, exactly, which
Yeah.
is good for me.
Sure.
Well, it's
I
only
mean,
good
it'll
if he
probably be
acts
firework.
unhinged. If he acts like calm and chill, and you act unhinged, it's bad for you.
Yeah. But it's good for content, which I have to make a good hybrid of, which quite frankly, I'll be honest with you, I think Andrew Tate of all people does pretty good.
Out of curiosity, if there was a creator who built their whole career on, let's say, analyzing film or whatever, and then you knew, like inside their head, you knew that they thought, I can retire now because I've got enough of a community where I can just react to videos, and even if the content creators were to complain, I'm going to ignore them. And I'm not really going to react. I'm mostly going to be making food and stuff. Would you condemn them ethically, or would you be like, whatever, it's fine?
I didn't really understand entirely because that was a lot of components there. And say that one more time.
So if a creator built their career on, let's say, reviewing movies, they had like millions of subscribers, and then they said to themselves in their head, but you knew about this, I'm going to retire, and the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to stream now all these different movie reviews and all these different videos and stuff. I'm barely going to react. I'm going to be making food and eating it and mainly just being on my phone. and even if the creators ask me to take down my VODs when I put them up with the same titles and stuff, I'm just going to ignore them. Would you condemn that person?
Well, okay. I think that right now we're in a position where I think people need to do better overall for the whole realm to progress in the ways that I think it should and deserves to and will in the future, right? And I think that when you do things that are bad and damaging and really bad, I think generally people should if you can do better, you should, right? And I think perhaps people should, you know, that there should be some sort of feedback, sort of conversation behind making not do that, because I think that's kind of cooked. Like if it's like really low quality, right?
It's good to hear that you do value the creators you're covering's position on all of it. That's good.
To some degree, yeah. Because I want things to be good. I want people to enjoy more content. I want people to like get baited, because it will take more time for that creator to start losing their followers and people to stop caring and to trickle down somewhere else, right? Down the line, because if you think about it, like you want things to be good. I want people to have better products to watch, better things to watch. I don't want people to lose on stuff. You know, that sucks.
Wait, Mao, let me ask you this question. First of all, we're talking about optics with like Ethan. I want to fucking bomb the NRA building fucking client. So optics wise, it's not hard for X to win that shit. Number one. Number two, if his argument is I'm willing to fucking 10x the money that these people fucking get, I'm willing to pay for my reactions, shout them out, do everything, ask for permission. If I don't get permission, I won't fucking react to their content. How the fuck are you gonna push back against that shit?
That's what I'm saying. Make sure you get that stuff out. He's going to want to just talk about the fact that he believes you're stealing. But as soon as you let him know you're willing to do all of that, but no one ever, or I don't know if anyone ever has requested it.
Oh no, I have, and I've worked with them in the past before, and I felt really bad, and I talked to them about what they want to do about it. One of these examples is Quicksketch. I've spoken with them, and I think when they started getting a lot of sponsors from like the Gay Foundation, what the fuck, what I noticed is that they actually didn't want the React to be able to on YouTube, and we just stopped entirely. And their motives for that was just because they had interlinked sponsors that had probably way more pure visions than the one that are authored by mine and my videos react. So we stopped doing that, and it was a very good and understanding conversation, and ended up being good overall for everybody. So I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, if you get all that out early, you should be fine with Ethan. I don't see what he's going to be able to do at that point, because you're talking about compensating the creators, which is something that you make clear matters to you. So that's going to be the main thing.
Okay. I'm gonna. Now he's probably screaming right now with his grandma about arguing and shit like that. So I'm gonna have to be careful about because he's probably screaming as well, right? He's doing the same thing as we are. He's probably doing arguments, screaming.
Ethan is absolutely not no.
Oh, you asking like how good is Ethan at arguing?
He's asking
I'm saying he's probably gonna know about
arguments right now.
No, and I mean he's probably gonna have his points already. He knows all of his points already because it's his views, right? But like. You'll probably know about all this. I'll have to come up with like some sort of like off-stream strat or something like that, like a good argument I haven't thought about yet.
I mean, it is Ethan Klein after all. Shouldn't be too difficult.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm shocked. I'm like, we're talking about Ethan Klein over here, not Ben fucking Shapiro. I was like,
Ethan has been on a tear. Ethan has been on a tear recently. Okay, be careful.
So you really think X is gonna fucking lose to Ethan?
I'm just saying, Ethan has been on a tear recently. Be careful.
I think he's going to get taken completely off guard by the compensation stuff. I don't know what he's going to do with that.
I mean, Ethan can just default to the argument of like, until that payment system is set up, streamers should stop stealing content.
But the X has said he's already got it. It's ready to go.
If he's 10xing the money that he fucking gets from that content and he gives it to them, I'm pretty sure that's more than whatever that system is going to give them. I'm very confident in that. So
what I mean by 10x is like if that's someone on my stream get a certain amount, I would gladly pay for even more, right? More than I personally got out of that segment, because at the end of the day, I don't care. I want to make content that people enjoy watching, right? And it keeps me into the game. It keeps me there. It keeps me making stuff that people watch. I will make that money back in a fraction of the time. Just because, just off the fact people are having a product they enjoy watching, and that's it. Flat out. That's my vision for it.
Yeah, because it's hard to push the stealing angle if he keeps talking about compensating them or making deals with them or trying to set up a system that will work with them. If you just said you don't give a shit and you ignore them entirely, then Ethan would have a better foothold.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, and I've had multiple talks before with other YouTubers. If they really want to, I have all the logs of the combos that I've had about people and offering them to be paid for their work, and all of them said no. They don't give a fuck. Quite literally, they did not want the money that the video created. They just didn't care. Same way that I don't care when people yoink my shit. It's the same sort of ecosystem, because everybody's like having a good time, make good content. Their word gets around, their video gets around, things go viral, things are good, and everybody's happy. The people that are unhappy are the people that are not part of the ecosystem, that nobody watches their videos, nobody reacts to their shit, and they're trying to push the argument of stealing on other people's behalf because they're insecure about the current numbers, and it's fucking cringe.
Let me ask you this. Would you take down a channel that solely, like, I think Lil Steve over here was talking about it. Would you make, if somebody was just making content about you, he's stealing your shit, but he's talking negatively about you, and he's making money off of shitting on you, would you take down his channel?
No, because I think overall misinformation and dog shit brings more views at a rate of like 1 to 8, I think, and they're just bolstering my content out there, and I'm making more money off of their hate than they're making off the video itself, so I don't give a fuck what they do.
And let's see, if you don't think it's worth it that could happen, you just hate that people are spreading misinformation, so you would take them down, right? Let's see if I'm asking you.
If I would take somebody down for criticizing me?
No,
Yeah,
for
said,
misinformation, but that you benefit from
you
it.
You said like if Nick, you would love if you had a way to like never have Nick react to your fucking videos.
Oh, theoretically, yeah, that'd be nice, yeah.
Hey,
okay,
yeah, you know,
so
you know what's crazy? My editor's gonna know people like shitting on me, and my editors these days, I feel like they kind of hate me. And you know what? You know the thing you said? They post misinformation about me? That's what my editors do to me. My editors post misinformation about myself on my own video titles, and they shit on me with their editing. Literally. My editors are my enemy. And you know what? That just works better. So I don't give a fuck that much.
I have a question. Do you think there's any argument that maybe the kind of live streaming space or the sort of video, whatever, content space should maybe fall under like a different classification for copyright ideas? Because I feel like it doesn't, a lot of the arguments we're making, I'm starting to see slightly more of your position, but I feel like working in other like fields, copyright has a lot more use than just like views and like just value and monetary amount, but like also genuinely, like as Pisco was saying earlier, like moral ownership or overall ownership. So maybe like it could be a different class maybe, and that makes it easier to be like, okay, you can register. Maybe if you had like different like labels for your content, like you'd say, okay, this is, you know, free to be completely used in the space, and we kind of have that with some, but I don't know, it kind of seems like that's what the intuition everybody here is pointing in that direction.
I agree, and that's why I think having I even produced the existence of maybe having a tag that says, oh, this is reactable or not reactable, right? And then that'd be fantastic, because then you can know ahead of time. And on top of that, I think you're right. Some people don't want their stuff reacted to. That makes a lot of sense. And the nature of live content is that you're just doing things based off of people's interests, what's going on, what are people thinking. Like, there's a reason why I don't wake up in a day and I'll go like, today, guys, if we want to watch this, and that. People will link certain things of certain interests, and sometimes we'll spark trends from left field. And as crazy as that sounds, okay, I think the early, I've used him as an example like 3 times in a row today. Andrew Tate, I think that the React content of Andrew Tate stuff was a massive explosion for the beginning of the research of the name that ended up being in the headlines in the news. It was crazy how explosive the React was in its value, and it's quantifiable too.
Yeah, but was university, the way that it was set up, the more content you made of him, the more clicks you got through the affiliate link that they posted in their channel, the more fucking people you brought in, you could access his war room or whatever the fuck. So the people that were pushing his content were actually getting kind of paid for it. That's why they did it.
Yeah, I mean,
no, but what you say, it kind of makes sense. But like in this instance, they're getting paid for it. They have a benefit.
Yeah, I think a lot of people like to do hindsight herald, which is like after the fact analysis bullshit of like,
oh my god.
Why? What's up?
I like that.
Hindsight herald is like a negative term I use for like the really like cringe after the fact thing. Or sometimes the people that speak about the things that Disney talks about, where you don't know, right? Because you don't have true lifelines, or you don't have a time machine to go back and compare the analytics of an impact or not an impact, right? And a lot of people like to make conclusions about those things on the fly and act like data's out there when it's not. That's why on Twitter I keep debating. bring me the stats. Show me show me a graph. Show me anything at all that you have that this is harmful. And people have failed to do so. Because one, it's hard to find people that think it's bad that make videos, and two, people that it's bad and it's impacted negatively. It's like there's none. Like almost zero.
Wait, hold on. Didn't some ordinary gamers, didn't he do that? Didn't he
What
show
do you
you
mean?
how like, when you guys were going back, he never did?
No.
Okay.
None of these guys have substance. They're all a bunch of bitches. What?
Okay, nigga, damn.
I still think it would still be worth, if ever possible, to talk to like Mutahar and stuff to see what would happen. I don't know, like, because I haven't looked at all of his videos, and I know Dark Viper has a lot of coverage of this, but I'm assuming you'd never speak to him. I don't know.
No, I mean, I would, but I think that the history has a lot of relevance. He brought up as a negative thing, or like as a got him, that I reacted to his video a long time ago. When in fact, if he was really upset about it and it was hurting him so much, he could have took my video down at the time, but he didn't.
No, don't do that. Don't do that, X. It's because you
well,
said that you never react to his dog shit.
I mean, shit, it kind of proves me right, because he would have done it, but he didn't, so like, where was the upsetment back then? It's almost like maybe he wasn't doing it because he was gaining from it, and that was good. Right?
Or maybe he just didn't care enough to fucking take down your video back then. Maybe.
Right. But he cares enough to make 9 posts about me on Twitter and dedicate his life to hating me in the past weeks. Right.
Because that video was from years ago. You don't know what the fucking people's opinions were back then. He might have changed his stance based off of people reacting to his content and ripping his shit off, and him seeing his analytics fucking hurt because of it. That could be a reason. I don't know. You guys should debate it. Like, he has his fucking position. I don't know what his position is exactly, but you'd be open to talk to him, right?
Sure, yeah. I don't mind talking to any of them. It's just that the problem one reason why I didn't want to talk to the other guy people mentioned is that guy made really weird tangents in the past, to like comparing to like other crimes and shit like that, and it's very just odd. And I think a part of his audience could be literally weaponized and dangerous, and I think that's just kind of scary. I'm sorry, call me a pussy, but that's how I feel about it.
Weaponized and dangerous.
Against the juicers. He's afraid that nigga's
well,
audience will take him down.
I think generally that comparing fucking React content to rape is fucking weird.
Jesus.
Great. Don't say the R word. Add the G before it. I'm sensitive. Wait, X, I have a question for you. Have you heard of the greatest show on Kick called Kick or Keep? So why are you laughing, Steve? Yes or no? Did you hear of it?
The fuck is that?
Okay, it's a show that's run by me and your good friend over here, Lil Steve, aka Destiny.
Bro, this guy's really bro. This guy's.
No, listen. I'm just asking. Would you ever be down to come on? I just want to know.
I'm not currently looking for the date at all. Like, even dating shows, I'm not.
It's not dating shows. We barely get any women. Don't ask why. It's just. Listen, don't fucking laugh at that. But I'm just saying. Listen.
Bro, yeah, but I'm in a position now where like.
You don't need to do the watch type of fucking show. It's not a dating
off
show.
the board. Like I don't care to like.
No shit, you were with the fucking Panzer truck and you got. Listen, let's not get into that. Anyways, it's not a woman dating show. I'm a virgin. He ran away. What the?
Nice.
Okay, X. No, listen. X, my bad. Listen, Steve, don't get mad at me, okay? Relax.
Chat's about to hate you for the rest of your life. Ready?
Ah, dude, don't fucking hate this, guys.
You know what? Somewhere Trainwreck is watching this, and he's like, I knew he couldn't be chill.
I knew it. This guy wouldn't be chill. This guy just fucking couldn't. I'm sorry. He said women are off the board. I forgot the whole like thing. You know what I mean?
You know,
guys, stop saying nice one, Q. Stop.
Watching that Hassan and Ethan thing covering like the X stuff, it's clear Hassan does not share X's point of view on this at all, except for the whole he just wants to take the content.
I mean, it's
like,
really hard to tell. The problem is Hassan is like always in maximum clout mode, so Hassan was stuck in a weird area where he's trying to appease Ethan while not shitting on X, and he also does some of the stuff that X does, so he's like in a really weird spot. Yeah,
like he didn't even mention the benefit to creators or an intention to, or talking to them. He was just like, yeah, we shouldn't be stealing it. Yeah, we should transform it. Yeah, shit.
Why would Hassan try to suck up to Ethan when Hassan's bigger than Ethan?
Because he just doesn't want to fight with him. He shares a show with him.
Yeah, they probably got contracts that extend way beyond just.
No, not even you don't want to be fighting with your popular co-host. Why would you ever do that?
Well, he would if it like meant, if it was something super important, right? He would probably have to.
No, he has.
You think Hassan never would?
No, he would never would. No.
What if like Ethan said capitalism is like the greatest thing ever?
Hasn't there actually? Wait, am I crazy, guys? Hasn't there been a show where Ethan is like, "Yeah, I'm a capitalist, not a full-on socialist," and Hassan kind of like baby puts around? Am I crazy, or did we watch that happen?
You might be right. Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like we actually watched it, but I could be wrong. I don't remember.
Wait, didn't Ethan just call out Hassan or something? Like, you just reacted to it a few hours ago, no?
Well, he apologized
so
for it. You guys know about that?
Yeah.
Wait, so Ethan is cool with going at Hassan, but Hassan can't do the same to him?
I think
Hassan just generally tries to minimize the amount of fighting and drama that he's in.
I should learn.
Ethan will like throw shit out quickly and impulsively, like, but he's always going to have a thing in his head of trying to avoid conflict with his co-host as well, like anybody does. Well, too much conflict.
So Ethan is the alpha in the relationship, and Hassan just tries to appease.
Yeah.
He's not confrontational. Okay.
But he did say he's like sorry on Instagram or something. It was too much when he was getting like wide celebration on the internet for how aggressive he was. And now everyone's sad. But hey, if he brings that energy to the actual, when is this happening, by the way? The XQC Hassan thing. Does anyone know?
I have no idea. I don't know if anybody knows.
Alrighty. Well, I'm gonna head out, lads. It was fun.
Yeah, love you, buddy. Be careful.
See ya.
I'm dipping too. I'm dipping, man. Look, dude, I actually feel bad because I was having a good conversation with him. Like, dude, how the fuck am I supposed to remember a fucking case like that? I'm not a juicer, you know what I mean? And all I said was fucking Panzer truck. That's the wrong thing. It's a Panzer.
Wait, remember what case? Wait, did you actually trigger him? What did you say that triggered him?
I think I didn't bring up adapter. I said like, he was like, oh, at this point in my career, like, I really don't want to fucking talk about women. I was like, no shit, you were with the fucking Panzer truck. But like, I did say, you know, that's
okay.
Listen, just give it to me straight. Did I fuck up? Just.
I don't know what the Panzer truck is. I don't even know what the fuck that joke means.
No, first of all, it's a tank. It's not a truck, number one, so I fucked that up, right? I fucked the joke up. Number two is because his girl is built like a fucking linebacker for the NFL, or his ex-girl, excuse me. But I forgot that I'm not meant to fucking bring her up. Like, dude, I don't take fucking, you know, like PR training or shit. I even forgot the whole thing existed. But just, you know, give it to me straight. Did I fuck up? Just be honest.
No, I think it was okay tonight. He got all of his debate. He got his debate prep. I think he'll be okay tomorrow, just because of you. Congratulations. See you next time, Bucko.
Because now, if I'm being
Yeah, it's cool. You got some really cool, interesting guests.
Yeah, well, again, I appreciate you being on.
Yeah, no worries, man. No worries. Yeah, I'm sorry it took so long to kind of get it rolling.
No, totally fun. I've been busy too.
Yeah.
It takes time. I mean, taking an hour out of your day is...
Yeah.
You know,
it's not a problem. I just, summertime, so just hit the beach a little while earlier. And
Are you still running and stuff? Or?
Yeah, just trying to get to stay active. Biking mostly and working out. But yeah, it's good.
Nice.
What have you been traipsing around the States or?
Yeah. I'm going to Sequoia this weekend.
Cool.
And then I don't know. I've traveled so much last year that I don't know.
A little gassed out on it.
Kind of gassed out. Kind of burnt out. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know if you could relate, but the more I did it, the less I felt like it gave something back. You know?
Yeah.
It kind of got repetitive.
It's nice when it's kind of a special thing that you can only do once in a while. If you can do it all the time, then it does lose a little of its luster.
Yeah. Well, the story I tell people is like I'd be in the Grand Canyon at one of the most beautiful places on the planet, and I would be on my phone just sticking around. And it's like it's such a strange thing. It's like people travel from all over the world.
Yeah, to see that.
And I'm just like, no, I don't fucking care.
Yeah, that's when you got to check yourself and go, okay, wait a minute, I need some more monotony in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, I have this fire occasionally.
Yes, I do.
So it's super hot.
I know. It's like 900 degrees.
I don't mind if you don't want to do it.
No, it's actually good. I mean, it's actually, we're in a cool little place out here in the shade, so I'll
Cool. Sick.
I will.
Have you seen this before?
I have seen this.
Like have you seen them in person or?
No, I have not.
Okay, cool.
This is the first.
Would you like to?
Yeah, let me do the honors here. Now, do I have to like?
No, it has a little, kick, but.
Let me see here.
Yeah. I got that lighter from Katie Silva in Austin.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. That's cool. How's she doing?
Good. All right, that's good.
She isn't she working in gaming or something? Or?
Yeah, she's working for Netflix.
Oh, very cool.
Animation.
Yeah. That was fun when she was here.
Yeah. She's awesome.
That might have been right when you started?
Yeah, around that time. I think she came right before me.
Yeah.
Stuck around for a couple years.
Cool.
And left, but,
yeah.
Well, I guess the way I usually start these things is like the point of this is not to talk about technique or how to become a better artist. Or anything. It's more about the why of doing it in the first place.
Yeah.
When I look at you, it's like you started, doing this stuff when you were super young, and you started the school, and it's like through perseverance and through just consistency and all this stuff, you've been able to make this thing that people will travel from all over the world to go and learn from you and the teachers at the school.
Yeah.
And I really admire that.
Nice. Yeah.
That, I don't know. It's
been quite a journey, that's for
special,
sure. Yeah, it is really indeed. I mean, this summer will be 30 years, and so it's hard to believe when I think back. In my early 20s when I started it, there wasn't, the internet wasn't around. It was a weird time. It was hard to start something like this because there was no advertising. Right. Everything had to be done in magazines or periodicals. Right. So yeah, I remember, just Comic-Con was probably my biggest venue for just trying to get the word out. But nobody really could travel. A lot of people were coming in from other countries. They weren't gonna, I had no internet school or no online school at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been quite a, I don't know, it's been quite a journey. I mean, the reflection lately has been. Just the journey has been like surreal,
crazy,
insane. Yeah, and the growth of the people around me. I mean, you work with Stan. Stan was with us for 10 years or something. So just a lot to see all the people that have come through go out and spiderweb out into their own visions, their own execution of stuff has been really cool. It's been
yeah. Well, and I mean, something that I believe is that it doesn't really matter what you're doing; it matters how well you do it. You could have like you were saying, you didn't have the internet, you didn't have the tools you have now, and you were able to make something that did have a profound effect on a lot of people's lives.
Yeah.
And I'm always curious about that. It's like, what drives somebody to go and like, instead of going and being a banker or going to be a stockbroker where you make way more money.
Yeah.
It's the rocks. But there's a tree above us.
Yeah, stop it.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, we got like a raccoon in here? Wild raccoon?
Birds sometimes. We're actually right outside Jeff's school. So,
yeah. I mean, it's funny. It's I never park my car around here because it's always getting dented by something like the pine trees or whatever. But I think for me, I was always a real independent thinker. I think the last time I worked for anybody was I was 19 probably. And that was just out of, during high school, I worked for some people and out of high school. But I don't know. I just always liked the idea. My father was not 9 to 5. He was a freelancer. So I kind of understood the concept of it and how hard it was.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew that it was not going to be an easy road. I knew it would be fraught with all kinds of technical difficulties and just life stuff. And I don't know. I was really always hyper aware of more the philosophical aspect of life versus just the analytical. Okay, I'm going to go do the conservative thing. I'm going to work the 9 to 5. I'm going to, retire when I'm 60. I just had no interest. I was always a real kind of bohemian, free-spirited. So that was the hardest thing, was just confining that into having to set down roots and ties in order to create something.
Yeah.
Because if you're always on the move, you can't get enough traction to really get something substantial to stick. It's very hard to do. I mean, it's easier nowadays with the internet, but because you can have like that more nomadic lifestyle. But But if you want, like, say, a brick and mortar and you want people to come and you want to build that reputation, I mean, it takes, showing up every day, being there. Yeah. And that was hard for me. That was not in my early 20s. I had to turn down a lot of opportunity to travel, a lot of opportunities with friends, in order to train, in order to study. Yeah. And it was never easy, but it was always with that. And I'm struggling with some of the younger guys here because there's a new generation coming in and it is a little bit more nomadic, moving around a lot. And it is harder to get them to sit still long enough to actually concretize the skills that are extremely high level, like back when Morgan and myself and all of us went through school. Right. You just didn't have as many options.
Absolutely. And I found that, like, when I was traveling, it was fun. It was super fun, everything, meeting all these people, doing all this cool stuff. But I cared a lot less about being focused on stuff. My brain got kind of foggy and muddy. Like I still see it in myself now, but it's like a version of myself that isn't, it's like not a master of anything. It's like a master of none, And it's like, I understand that lifestyle, but it's also not necessarily sustainable for keeping this line of work as something that, can actually earn you the money to be able to live in Southern California or to be able to, have the security that you might want long term.
Yeah. I think some of that is just coming to terms with having your cake and eat it too, or whether or not that's even possible, or, to some degree, you might as well dream for that. But there is I think life has a certain amount of compromise that always is inherent in it. If you want a family, you got to compromise. If you want to, run a business, you got to compromise. If you want to be good at certain things, you'll have to compromise certain parts of your freedom. Yeah. I mean, I've tried to hack that. I've tried to move around it. I've tried to do that. And it's just, at some point you just say, the way is through, not around. Yeah. And it's a hard thing to come to terms with, I think for anybody, but some people do it more inherently than others. Some people do it out of fear. Some people do it. Yeah. Depends on what your motivation is for what route you take. Yeah. If it's an avoidance thing or whether it's a courageous thing because you see your life as a dynamic adventure and you want to do the Joseph Campbell thing and, the hero's journey type scenario, or if not everyone's cut out for that. Yeah. So some people I think find they want those, the ties of convenience and also, family life where you're rooted somewhere, where you actually, the monotony of that particular kind of life, which I would kind of see as more monotonous, is actually what they thrive on.
Yeah, the security.
Yeah, and just that little tribe that you build yourself, that little unit that you're going to travel through life and have memories and all that kind of good stuff. And that's something, my wife and I met early 20s. I started the business when I was 22, met her at 23. So all this, all that kind of, as we built it together, it was like, hey, do we want to start a family? Do we want to do this? Where do we want to live? What do we want to do? And some of it was just like, all of a sudden life just starts happening and you got to make money and you got to survive.
You got to do stuff.
You got to do stuff, and it's like, what is your best option at that time? Is it, because to take your skills and say, I'm going to parlay those things. I mean, art is anything but consistent, but it is. I'm glad people do it because the world's a more beautiful place because of it. I mean, if nobody would step up as an actor or a musician or painter, we'd be a pretty miserable place, to live. Yeah. So
giant concrete houses.
Yeah. I mean, it's just there's so much. There's so many people that I don't know. That's I'm a big. I've always been a big proponent of doing what you dream, but being realistic with a sub-emphasis on idealistic. The idealistic is fine, kind of gets you to dream, but then you've got to put, you've got to put down action steps to get that to come to fruition, and that's where a lot of people, I think, stop. Seems like.
Well, I've heard it talked about in a sense where it's like you look at a baby, and the baby is an unlimited amount of formless potential. That baby could be Mozart, it could be a serial killer, it could be the president, it could be anything, right? And it's like the older you get, the more decisions you have to make. And I think the tragic part about being a human is that if you don't make a decision a decision is made for you, no matter what you do.
Yeah.
And that indecision leads, that fear of making something is actually the worst possible thing to do, because then you don't become anything. You're just there doing nothing.
And it's funny because if you go from a Zen standpoint, it's like because you can attain everything, seek to attain nothing. I mean. You can do anything, so doing nothing's an option as well. That's completely viable, and just the worthiness of being a human and being in this human form, whatever way you believe. Then it the achievement. I don't know. I mean, the more I achieve, the more I have achieved, the less important it is to me to achieve stuff.
Yeah,
I'm not that interested anymore in it. and I'm not saying I don't, still strive for, a more elite level in my work, or I want to be a better person. I'm always going to be trying to be the best person I can.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's certain things I value. I mean, I've always loved traveling.
Yeah.
Traveling is a big part of my life. And it was funny because I traveled always interspersed between all the semesters or something. So every semester break, I would take a trip.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of my wife didn't really want to go on. So I'd go to Morocco, or I'd go to Machu Picchu, or I'd go to Nepal. I'd go to, all over the place. And it was never, I always strive, it would have been nice to go there and spend a month.
Yeah.
But, be like a week or two. But it was usually enough to appease that portion of myself that had that adventuresome part of me.
Right.
And it was fun. It was good. I'm kind of reassessing you get to a certain point in your life where you have to reassess.
Yeah.
Or you just do naturally. It's not even you have to. You just naturally, it seems like you look back and you say, what you make assessment of, what did I accomplish? What was it? How did it pan out? And some of it was like, so many variables now in the economy, and how many forces that are moving through that you have no control over, really, that you're really kind of, you got to kind of take more. I've been taking more that bend towards just ebbing and flowing in the surrender experiment kind of thing, just seeing how things play out from a more the macro level always fascinates me. Micro is a little bit harder for me, but seeing those macro trends is I'm a lot more apt to be able to do.
Right.
So I don't know. It's just I think that the art spirit is just a phenomenally complicated and beautiful thing.
It's complicated. Well, and I think that you could be a masterful plumber or masterful electrician. And I found that through my travels, traveling around the U.S. and then a bit in South America and Europe, is that everyone's the same. There's a unity beyond there are people that would have loved to be painters or programmers or whatever, that just they were born in a small village in the Amazon that never had a
kicking out. I'm like,
do you want me to turn it off?
No, I'm totally good. It's like my hair will probably just, we're jumping out. I can roll out of the van.
Said something and Satan,
I know.
Good omen.
We're conjuring up spirits, yes.
But it's I go around and I meet people who are smart. They're good people, but they're in poverty. And it's what set of things could have happened to me for me to be in that position? And not that it's better or worse, but it's I'm pursuing all this stuff. I'm having my own versions of small successes in my own career. And I'm there's no difference between me and them,
Yeah.
Absolutely no difference.
Yeah, sometimes just the luck of the draw, where again, I guess if you really get down to more the depending on how you bend your head around certain concepts. But maybe we do have a curriculum that we picked, and that we do have our lessons to learn, and there's some direction there that choices that you can make that will set you into different scenarios. But it's hard to know. It's very pretentious and easy to think that what everybody's life is for,
right,
and what they're trying to learn.
Yeah.
And maybe they are working off karma. Maybe it's something from another life or whatever. Who knows?
Right.
So when you stop and think about stuff like that, it really changes the dynamic of it. And it's not so much the victim mentality of, that poor person. That poor person may be working something off that they needed to, right?
Yeah.
And maybe it looks horrific to an onlooker, but maybe it's got a really interesting, kind of lesson in that. I'm not saying that when you look at some of the horrific things that happen, just condoning them, but there's probably, I would imagine in my own way of thinking, that there's a bigger picture that we don't fully understand. So I try to be really open to that when I see people's life situations and say, I don't know what this person's trying to learn. I mean, who am I to think that I know either better than them or what they're here to actually learn from this particular experience. So I just try to keep that really open mind, because when you travel, it is sometimes really hard when you're up in these places where it is so poverty-stricken. Although I see a lot of those people way happier than I am.
Exactly.
People around me, it's like, there's something to be said for that, And so I think, there's so many. Traveling, I think, for me is probably the best thing you can spend your money on or time on. Is one of the things that, is that. And I've always tried to encourage people around me, and it doesn't mean you got to take off a year to do it. Like I said, you can just do little trips and just feed your soul periodically with variety and keep you nimble and keep your mind from concretizing into like
and
really solid
and humble too.
Yeah,
you know? I think it's when you start to go see the scale of the world as it is. You know, it's like there are 7.5 billion other people like us, with living their own lives out there right now that we'll never meet, never care about, never hear about us, and it's like, but our universe is so important to us, and it's like, it's bizarre. You know, it's like how, like that, you know, something like doing a deadline on time or you know, getting a certain job or any of that stuff becomes way less significant when you realize the scale of humanity as a whole, or just the universe. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like you can really, I wouldn't say screw yourself, but your mind can get to the point where you're just like, what's the point of anything? You know, what's the point of trying to even strive to do a good painting?
Yeah.
I mean, it really doesn't matter. I mean, when I'm dead and gone, is it really going to matter? Even if I produce the best painting ever, you know, I mean, you know, it's a nice contribution to society. It's a nice contribution to humanity. I'm glad people have done it. You know, I kind of came to the point in my career where it was kind of like, do I sacrifice my marriage, everything that I have to be the best painter I can? Because, you know, skill-wise, I felt like, okay, I got, you know, I have a certain propensity towards wanting to be great at things. And I have an incredibly hard work ethic, and I've been very disciplined, and I've honed my skills over 3 decades of everyday religiously training almost. And, you know, what would it take to actually be a sergeant, a Soroya, a Fetchin? And the amount of sacrifice necessary to me is almost has to be above anything and everything else in your life.
Absolutely.
Easily. And I'm just unwilling to do that, right? So for me, it's more, you know, having a rich experience in life, helping others to find whatever that means for them, whether it's they want to go into illustration, they want to go into fine art, they want to do something digitally. It doesn't really, that's become less of an interest to me and more that I show up in my integrity and I just teach the best I can and share. Because to me, teaching is like an act of service. It really is. It's you take some of the best energy that you have and the best creative flow that you have and you give it to other people. And prop a lot of people up that probably never will do anything with it or really don't have the drive to do it on their own, and you're going to be that drive for them. And that's tough, you know, if you do it day in and day out. That's a lot of your best energy spent.
For a little bit right now is doing Friday Night Lives only because they're we have a lot of things in the works right now with the online school, streaming, the traditional brick and mortar school. So we really haven't been, you know, having the bandwidth to do a lot of the Friday Night Lives. But we'll be doing all this month a variety of things that I think you guys will really enjoy. And it's going to be kind of wild. I mean, we're going to do Instagram Lives. We're going to do a Friday Night Live every month or every week of the month. So Eric will be doing next week a demo. Lucas will be the week after that. My dad will be doing sketchbooking. And then we will also be doing at the very end where we all come into the atelier and we all work, and we're going to do an Instagram Live watching all of us work. So what I want to go over a little bit right now is some various modalities of learning. And I wanted to talk about conscious kind of mindful training and what that means. And so mindful training to me is really about organizing one's thoughts and allowing oneself to be completely present when one's studying. So one's not constantly fighting a wandering mind, thinking about other things. What we have to remember in this kind of training, this really elite kind of traditional academic training, which then will go into whatever digital painting, you want to go into animation, any of these other things, the cornerstone is going to be memorization, repetition, patience, perseverance. These are all things that we need to cultivate. And the way we cultivate them is through a regimen of practice that's logical. Now that means everything from deciding where we go to school to what books we actually put into we study through emulation, to what masters we study, to what techniques we employ, which ones we choose to adopt, whether that's going to be site size or that's going to be a comparative measurement or some variation of the Riley method or some hybrid thereof. We really have to start thinking about, we'd want to start thinking about how are we attacking learning to train the eye and the hand to memorize information that's visual about the portrait, about the figure, about drapery, all these different things, so that we ultimately can really understand how to best attack these problems. Because really, the one thing that we're really going to be up against most is going to be time, right? We don't have enough time, period, in our lives, but much less in the week, in the day, in the month, in the year. So what we need to do is we need to learn how to multitask, prioritize what it is we study. So what I want to talk about a little bit is I would like you to get a calendar, right? I'd like you to, and I had a lot of visuals I was going to show you, but we're just going to talk right now about it. And then I'm going to do some tracings for you. I'm going to show you how I break down drawings, how I think about the process of training. And again, working with the different modalities that we've now created at the Atelier, but there's also other ones out there that we can put together a really attack plan for how you're going to go about getting extremely, extremely proficient from anywhere on the planet, okay? So that's something that you did not used to be able to do. So calendar, get a calendar. I don't care whether it's traditional or whether it's digital. You can do it on your iMac, you can do it on, a spreadsheet, whatever you want to do. But I get an old school calendar, and I Xerox it off. And I basically, I'm just going to give you an example of when each term starts. What I normally do is I will categorize everything in my life from when I eat to when I work out to when I work to when I go to school and teach to when I have blocks of time to paint and draw and study, right? And I haven't found any other way than to do this, because otherwise what happens is you procrastinate, you find excuses, you stumble and bumble around looking for reference, you're ill-prepared, and nothing ever gets really done, nothing ever really gets accomplished. And we will not be able to get proficient at anything by doing that. So whether you want to learn how to draw, you want to learn how to play piano, you want to learn how to surf, you want to learn how to play soccer, you want to learn how to play some sport, it's all going to be the same. It's going to come around to this kind of stuff. And we talked about it in Mastery, right, with George Leonard. I went and did a whole podcast, and you can find that on YouTube if you want to watch that. We talked about it in different ages. When I did the How to Train to Be a Successful Artist, I talked a little bit about what it's going to feel like 5 years, nothing ever really gets accomplished. And we will not be able to get proficient at anything by doing that. So whether you want to learn how to draw, you want to learn how to play piano, you want to learn how to surf, you want to learn how to play soccer, you want to learn how to play some sport, it's all going to be the same. It's going to come around to this kind of stuff. And we talked about it in Mastery, right, with George Leonard. I went and did a whole podcast, and you can find that on YouTube if you want to watch that. We talked about it in different ages. When I did the How to Train to Be a Successful Artist, I talked a little bit about what it's going to feel like 5 years in, a year in, 2 years in, 5 years in, 10 years in, 15 years in to this journey of training. Now, some of you watching this may be saying, oh my God, here's Jeff again doing his intense thing. But it is an intense thing. I mean, learning how to do this is not for the faint of heart. It's not for people that are wishy-washy, whimsical. If you're like that, that's okay, but just fess up to it and be cool with it, and don't expect mastery to happen through those means. So what I do is I like to break things down. I've always been that way. In my life, it served me extremely well in all areas of business, to art, to sports, to academia, to whatever it was that I was doing. It was about find someone that does it really well and glue yourself to them like gum on your shoe, and get the results that they get by emulating and following their lead, what they do on a daily basis, how they think, how they act, how they respond to certain things. These are the clues. Now, I started very young studying Tony Robbins, and I know, that was back when he first came out, and it was all about these kind of techniques, right? Now, you don't have to run out and become the self-help guru or whatever, but you do want to set up discipline. Okay, so the calendar is first and foremost. what time, and then get highlighters, get 5 highlighters, get orange, pink, blue, whatever, green, and create a little legend for yourself and say, okay, I'm going to do, my work is going to be red or pink or whatever, and then my study time is going to be orange. Okay, my workouts are going to be green. Got to stay in shape, got to stay healthy in order to even, otherwise you're just going to get good and croak, so it won't matter. So green, blue's going to be, whatever, when you eat, and what you do is you fill in that, you take that grid and you fill it in, right? And you do with all the knowns, with all your givens, and you highlight that, okay? Now let's say you're coming to the atelier and you're picking your schedule for the semester, and you say, Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays I have classes. Okay, so you write those in. You say, okay, I have head drawing on Monday night, I have head figure quick sketch on Wednesday, and then on Saturday I have quick sketch and figure. So it's a nice, strong head figure semester, okay? So you do that. You go highlight all that in, and then you fill in, okay, I got to go to work on Monday, I have to work until this time, and then, okay, I work on, 3 days a week, 4 days a week, or whatever. I have a part-time job, I have a full-time job. You fill all that in. Then you say, okay, I want to eat. I get up at, 6. And you stay on this. You get up at 6, and so you highlight that on, okay, I get up at 6, and then you write down what you're going to have for breakfast, and you fill that out. And you break down your whole life into compartmentalized areas so that you can see if it's even realistic, what you're striving to accomplish. Sometimes you'll set this thing up and say, there's no way. I have 0 time to study. I have, so your class time becomes your study time, but you're going to be moving at a certain pace. If we can accompany that with some study at home, it doesn't have to be extensive, but a little bit, we can get a little more movement. If we take advantage of our breaks, we can get even more movement during semesters. So I don't care if you're going to, where you're going to school, any of the big art institutions or the little atelier, or you're studying at home, this is going to have to be done. So calendar first and foremost, okay? Once you've got that all filled in and you can see what your week looks like, then don't be disappointed when things don't work out the way you planned. Say, for example, one week you get the flu. Now all of a sudden, all those work days got blown out. The main thing to do is catch your composure. Don't go back. Don't just go off the rails. Don't go off the rails. Next week, when you start feeling a little bit better, you go back to that schedule and you pick it back up. You don't get mad at yourself. You don't get flippant or whatever. You just, you patiently say, okay, that was unfortunate. Right? Now, other things may come up. Maybe you got to go to the doctor on one day, or you have to a dentist appointment. Now that took up your study time. It's okay. This is an ideal scene for what an ideal week would look like. It's not necessarily going to happen. Okay? But it gives you an idea. It gives you the scaffolding from which you can say, this is what I would like. And if you hit 80% of that, or 75% of that schedule, I guarantee you're going to see amazing results. Next thing, you got to have a good workspace. Okay, now I was going to show you a workspace, but the camera's not going to be able to pan around to give you the workspace that I wanted to show you. It's not that complicated. You need something to sit on and keep your board on your lap upright. Now, if you don't have one of these fancy little horses, you can get them from Dick Blick for like $100, or you can build one. Or you can take a chair, sit in it, turn it the other way, another chair, and lean your pad up to it very much like what I'm doing right now, but it'll probably just be more comfortable. So that's a good option. Next thing is you want a clean area to work. A garage is awesome. Corner of a garage, corner of your bedroom, spare bedroom, ideal. Garage with nothing in it, even better. Living room, corner of a living room, whatever. Just a nice little clean workspace. It doesn't have to be extravagant. Maybe a little bookshelf, maybe a little portable easel, maybe a pochade box. Maybe a French easel, which are the portable easels you take outdoors painting. You can use those for studio easels as well. They're very compact. They fold up. They go in the nice corner of the room. They don't take up a lot of space. You may not have room right now for a big elaborate easel. That comes down the road. And if you do, first we got to get you really good. Then we got to get you making money at it. Then we got to get you to be able to then you go buy the extravagant, build the custom Northlight studio like you see some of your favorite artists have. So clean workspace. Spare room, corner of your room, whatever. That's going to be the next thing you want. So you want a calendar, you want a workspace. Now you need some equipment. You need the drawing horse or the 2 chairs or the easel. And then you need some good lighting. And what kind of lighting? Everyone always asks me, what kind of lighting? Verilux makes a really nice color-corrected bulb if you're painting. and you want your palette to be lit by the same light that your easel painting is going to be lit by. So don't have two different light sources, one warm, one cool, one this, one that. Just make sure they're the same kind of bulbs. You don't have to get anything fancy yet, but down the road you can find all kinds of fancy, lighting equipment. But right now, just a nice, simple light setup that lights your pad decently. Okay, so now we've got equipment. We've taken care of calendar, workspace, equipment. Now books and reference. You've got to study something at home. If you're on the online program, we're going to take care of a lot of that for you, because you're basically getting me taking all the information out of those hundreds and hundreds of books that I have and presenting it in streamlined manner. It's not going to give you the diversity of it, but it will give you, it'll save you a lot of grief. Let's put it that way. So yes, this is going to be a sales pitch for the online. Yes, this is going to be a sales pitch for streaming. Yes, this is going to be a sales pitch for, the brick and mortar. Why? Because they're awesome, right? And they work, and they've worked time and time again. So whether you can do one of those components, both of those components, all three of those components, I'm going to walk you through how I would set up, ideally, a very mindful program for studying this stuff so that you can understand how to go about it. Because a lot of people get on the online program, and I have all these phases that you're supposed to follow: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, basic enough, but they're still having a hard time with just basic setup and things. And yes, maybe we'll do a video at some point, but that's why I'm covering it here in this YouTube, is to address things that I've seen, questions coming in. And in a minute, we'll start taking a lot of questions from you, because tonight's not so much me showing off my skill sets. It's how do I encourage you to set up a proper method to get your own skill sets that are similar to mine, or Eric's, or Lucas's, or whoever else you love as an artist. And how can we get you now going out and being one of those artists yourself, right? So first, it goes down to the basics of how you sharpen your pencil, to how you sit, to the kind of paper you're working on, to the lighting you have in your studio, to a nice clean space. If you come to studying and you have your stuff scattered all over hell and back, and you can't find your reference, and you can't find this, and you can't find that, and you only have a 45-minute chunk of time to study, you're going to waste probably a good half of that just on inefficiency and poor planning. And that's a shame, because it doesn't have to be that way, but you do have to get disciplined, right? You've got to be accountable for, I'm lazy, I'm procrastinate a lot, I just don't listen. I mean, there's all kinds of things people do that keeps them from being successful in all areas of their lives, much less this area, which requires the utmost priority of structure. Multitasking is absolutely essential. That means being able to do many things at the same time, or in layers at a very high level. Okay, so the books and reference. Back in the day when I was coming up, I didn't have the online program. I would have given my left arm for it, but instead I had you have to go track down these books that are out of print, find them, go into them, pull the information out of them by copying certain aspects of them, usually making mistakes along the way and copying the wrong things and developing bad habits that later have to be removed by your teacher if they're aware enough and also diligent enough to actually, really stay on you, right? So some of the books that I like, I have thousands of them, hundreds of them. So I have hundreds of books that I think, I would love that you would have, but the reality of it is that they're expensive. They're hard to find. They're out of print. They're by the time you're done getting them, you're going to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on books, right? And none of you, I highly unlikely, most of you have that kind of discretionary income to spend on the books, right? So you're going to need the information given to you in a more streamlined manner. If you are working from books, some of the books that I like most are books like this Russian book. I've collected all of them over the years that just are chock full of phenomenal drawings from that lineage in the Russian Academy, the Repin Institute. Okay, so these are great studying arms, studying anatomy. You got to dissect these. You kind of have to know anatomy in order to work from these properly. So it's kind of a catch-22. You'll get a book like this and say, well, what am I supposed to do with it? You're supposed to pull out of it the calligraphy. But if you're barely able to draw a sphere or a figure mannequinized, it's going to be very difficult for you to get much out of a book like that, because it's not a how-to book, it's an inspirational book. But you can learn from it if you're really intelligent. What I'm going to try to do, I tear apart one of those drawings in the online program, and I show you how to do it. I walk you through it step by step, and then you do it, and then you learn how to do that so that when you go to that book, you're not just stabbing in the dark, right? I did one a couple years ago that's very similar format because I love that format. Notice there's very little text in this book, right? Why? Because you're not going to read about how to draw. You're going to draw from drawings to learn how to draw, right? That's, and I don't mean that in any kind of, I'm not trying to talk in a derogatory manner to any of you. The way that you learn in art, it's a visual language. So I found that it's best to learn by copying and emulating and being around good people ideally, right? So what we have here is we have what we've gone over so far, right? And now we have the modalities of study, right? We have traditional art colleges, which is one choice. We have your ateliers, which is another choice. We have your online programs, which is another choice. And now some places have streaming options, which is another choice, okay? So there's your three modalities here so we're going through this. I'm going down my list that I itemized for you guys. Traditional art college, atelier, online, streaming. Okay, these are the different modalities of study that we're gonna talk about. Now, some of you are already in an art college somewhere. Totally fine. I'm not here to talk anything, other than, how to be mindful with your training. I'm not gonna get into, I already got into that in my opinion of different ways of studying in some other things. Right now, there's nothing really wrong with any of these, right? So it's just, but whatever fits for you. Atelier, that's where we fit in. Online atelier, we fit in there. And the streaming option, we fit in there. There are other schools like LA Fig Arts, New Masters. I mean, there's all kinds of different schools where you can try different things, and you just have to see which ones work for you. Again, I know we have a great program. We have 25 years, what we're celebrating, of a curriculum that works seamlessly now. Okay, self-training, not recommended. Okay, last one on the list. So when we're talking about mindful training, part of your training is where you're going to go to get educated. That's one of the most mindful or the most pivotal things that you're ever going to decide that could be the absolute pivotal point in whether or not you succeed ultimately, and I've said it time and time again. So atelier training strategies. It's a balancing act, right? The art of multitasking, like I just mentioned. Alternating your disciplines. Drawing, painting, 70-30. Okay, traditionally, we have our drawing category, we have our painting category. I want to get to painting, right? This is where the end game is for most people. Drawing is a way to get to painting, but most people go right to painting, right? So we need to take you back to drawing. We need to do 70% of our time drawing. So if you only have X amount of hours a week, you can only take 2 classes at an atelier like ours, take only drawing. 3 classes, probably only drawing. 4 classes, probably still only drawing, but maybe 3 drawing, 1 painting. 5 classes, 4 drawing, 1 painting. 6, 4 drawing, 2 painting. So you look for this ratio, just a basic. Now repetition, getting used to taking the same class numerous times, if you're allowed to, okay? In ateliers, this is one of the reasons why they're so successful at getting people good, is this right here, repetition. They allow it, they encourage it, and it's what it's all about. Other schools where you're going to get a bachelor's, they're not going to be able to allow this. It's not that they don't like it. It's not that they don't believe in it. They just can't allow it because you'll never get your degree. So this is the big sticking point, right? So consistency. You have to continue until you're adept and then on to mastery, right? So you continue until what does adept mean? It means you're decent. You can actually draw a decent head. That's not going to happen in 10-week class. Whether you're streaming it, whether you're on the online class, or whether you're in the stick and bricks with me down in the trenches. It might be 10 times taking head drawing, seeing different demos, and this is where the streaming comes in, because now you can watch me demo every week, you can watch Eric demo every week, you can watch Lucas demo every week, and you can actually send your work in and get those critiques every week, just like you were if you were in the class. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So the positives of a brick and mortar, sticks and bricks type atelier or whatever is going to be the environment. Is great, hopefully, right? If the school's done its job. The learning from other advanced students, assuming that they allow you to do that, right? That you can actually be next to a student that's 5 years ahead of you versus all being in a class of basic newbies where nobody really knows what they're doing. So it's kind of the blind leading the blind. Okay, so that doesn't work quite as well. It can work, but it's a slow way to go about it. So direct contact questions and answers, right? You get to talk to the instructor. They're working with you. You can ask them questions at break time. It's a little bit more casual. You can actually ask more. Camaraderie, right? That's a big thing. It's just having that friendships that you create in school that carry on throughout your life that allow you to be, to build these even professional friendships where they might get a job at some studio and then get you a job there, things like that. And then other classes happening. In the case of our school, we have a class right across from another class, just a partition wall between them, and you can actually hear what's going on. You can visit it during the break. You can see what else is happening. Online training. Okay, so here's another very mindful way to train. Discipline, because you have to be by yourself, but that's going to happen ultimately anyway, so maybe it's better that you get used to that earlier than later. So so the positives are that you get to set up time at home to do your structured exercises, use the phases that accompany your class structure, or do the contrary. You can do whatever you want. So you have a lot of flexibility, and it's convenient. I mean, that's the biggest So I kind of got ahead of myself there. So use the phases that accompany your class structure, or do the contrary. If taking head, do more head, or figure at home as you take head, or vice versa. So in other words, if you're taking a heavy head classes online, you may want to flip it with figure occasionally and work with a little bit more of a back and forth. The positives of the online is the convenience factor, right? You can do it whenever you want, whenever you can manage to do it. And the reference. Okay, so we give you all the references already there for you. The books have been stripped down, and you save a lot of money, right? By not having to spend an exorbitant amount moving somewhere, going somewhere, moving your life somewhere. Okay, the last one is the streaming option, and the positives are it's convenient. You get to watch up to 2 weeks after. You have the best vantage point in the room. You're right over my head, or Eric's, or whoever. You get to watch the warm-up and the demo over and over, which you can't do if you're in class. You get the reference provided, which you don't in class. You get tracings each week and access to all the other tracings the students are doing at the same time, which you don't get in class. And you get anonymity. So if you're a little bit one of those people that's kind of a little bit nervous, doesn't like to be in an environment of a lot of people, gets a little bit uptight, doesn't like people watching him draw, then that's perfect for you. So between the online so we have online training and streaming, that is an incredibly powerful modality of mindful training, right? And yes, it's a sales pitch. Why? Because it will work. It will work for you. I have no qualms about it. I'm not selling you, a bunch of fluff. I'm just telling you, this is how I would train. I trained the hard way because I only had books, and then I had classes, but then I had to gut the books and I had to figure it out, and it took me probably 5 to 10 years when I could have done it in 5. So we could probably cut it in half now. What I know in hindsight after 30 years of being in this stuff. So you use the structure of the program phase to phase, and you use the streaming classes to apply what you are learning and get input. So it's kind of like the mentoring. You can still do the mentoring, which can be also extremely helpful if you want that one-on-one, asking questions, professional insight, that kind of thing. But if you want to feel like you're actually in class and you're getting some of that accountability where you got some skin in the game because you're paying for the class, and you want to show up every week on Monday night, but say something comes up on Monday night and you can't make it, you have 2 weeks to see that demo. The people that were in class that night, they don't have that luxury, right? They missed the class, they missed the demo, they get to maybe see my drawing the next week in my pad, but they never got to see it done. So that's awesome to be able to match those two together. So you can also opt for mentoring, which gives you crits and workover. So if you did all 3 of those, killer, but it is kind of expensive. But is it cheaper than moving your life to San Diego or moving to LA or spending some of the programs that are out there? It's dirt cheap compared to that. Still may not have the money, but that's a whole different problem, right? So we're not talking about the financial aspects of training. I'm just telling you what is the best, most mindful way to go about training that I know with everything that I've been learning and what I've been trying to create with those 3 modalities of our school now. Online training by itself, that's another option where you don't do the streaming, but you just follow through, which a lot of you have already been doing. So I'm hoping the streaming will be that thing that you're asking for, which is I need more camaraderie. I talked to a lady today on the phone, and she said, I've been on it 2 years. I love it, but I'm getting a little bit antsy. I don't have anyone to talk to. It's in my own little world. Well, I said, do the streaming. Try it. It's like being in class. And when I address it, I kind of get to know you throughout the year, the 10 weeks of doing tracings, because it's just like being in a 10-week class. If you were taking head drawing phase 1, or not phase 1, but head drawing at the atelier, streaming, every Monday night, 7 to 10, I would stream that class. And you could sit in for that live if you wanted and feel like you're in there, and I'll be addressing you guys and talking to you a little bit from there, and then you get to watch all that. So take open workshops to help solidify information. It's another option. Okay, this requires you to self-correct. Can be difficult, can be done, but difficult. A bit cheaper, but costly from a time standpoint and no guarantee of success. So if you're studying without input, without this, you can get good, you will get good, but it's cheaper, but it is costly because it takes a lot longer because you're still going to be kind of bumbling and fumbling. Hopefully not, you wouldn't be, not as much as the self-study thing, where the self-study is not, like total self-study, in my opinion, is not a mindful course of study. Okay, so how to study. We have copying from other artists, copying from masters, all that kind of stuff, right? So that's going to be things like this. So here's a couple from our school, right? So this is a Phil Hale study by, I think it was Ephraim that did this years ago. Beautiful drawing, kind of beat up a little bit. It's been around for years. This is a lay-in of a line decker, and it shows the start of the drawing, and it shows you the thought process. So again, you're learning drapery, you're learning hand anatomy, you're learning head drawing, you're learning other accoutrements, how to draw all kinds of stuff. So fantastic. So this is copying, right? Here's another line decker that's in a very early stage, so you can see what that looks like. So again, I'm trying to show you what this looks like when you're studying this. Okay, this is cultivating design. It's cultivating design through the eyes of another artist that was one of the most phenomenal designers of all time. J.C. Leyendecker, illustrator, golden age of illustration, in the lineage of Alphonse Mucha. Also Drew Struzan in that lineage, and many others. Adam Hughes. Okay, so these are all people that design impeccable shapes. How do we learn how to design impeccable shapes? We stand on the shoulders of giants. We study people like this. It's very difficult to teach design. One of the most difficult things that I've ever had to teach is how to cultivate a design sense. And I've found that the best way is to lead by example and also have impeccable taste yourself if you're an instructor. Okay, book learning, right? So we go to books. Now this is old school. So, I don't know what we'll be doing in the future, but Andrew Loomis, get the book, get the PDF, go in it, draw. Don't draw everything, right? Some of these pages, per great page. Draw this until you're blue in the face, right? Draw this until you can draw this page without looking at it. Then you know you understand this. Otherwise, you get better dexterity, your hand's moving, but not a lot's being retained. You're going to become a copyist. Copyists are okay, but they're not great, right? It's not a great way to go. Skull, good information, would study both those pages. Study some of these pages, but not everything. But yeah, most of these two are quite good. So I would study 3/4 of that. It's another good page. Great page. This is like the Asaro head, but the dumbed down version of it. I don't think it's as well designed as John Asaro's is. This one's more like John Asaro's down here. So you can cherry pick some of John's and some of Loomis, ultimately. You should probably separate the two out when you're studying them, though, because you're going to get confused. So I'm just going through this book, and this is how you gut a book. You take a book, you look through it. I seldom read. Occasionally I'll read a little bit if I don't understand what he's trying to say, but this speaks volumes right here. 3/4 head down tilt, 3/4 head to the side, whatever. I could read, okay, tilting the head. Well, I just mentioned that. And then you go through and it talks about, that. So if you want to read it, great. For me, the faster I can get it into my eye and into my brain and get my hand to deliver it, the better, okay? So I go through this book. I don't draw smiling people right now, especially if I'm just starting. I'm not so interested in character types yet. So if you're just starting, I'd go past these pages. Okay, take note of that. Maybe this is kind of nice knowing different face shapes, but I wouldn't, these look a little too cartoony for me. Some nice heads there that you could do some lay-in study from, maybe some 5-minute head drawings. But this book overall is one of the best books I know on drawing the human head. And it's like, gold for when you're studying. So great book. Again, I could go through every book for hours and show you, do this, don't do this, do that. When we get into anatomy, I have over 200 books in my library on anatomy, right? Some of them I only study one chapter from, some only 1-2 pages from, some the whole book. This is Robert Beverly Hale, great anatomy teacher, very academic. But what are you going to do with this? You know, I mean, are you going to sit and draw that? No, I wouldn't. I like, okay, the oblique hooks on here. Okay, it goes here. I kind of understand that, but the way it's drawn more from a description standpoint, so I don't copy that. When I get back to the back here, I mean, so this book is a cross-reference book for me. I don't draw from it as much as I use it to refer to other drawings that I'm having a problem figuring out what I'm drawing. So I might go to this book, you know, could be mine, or it could be this Russian book, right? And I look at this guy's knee here, and I say, well, fuck, I don't know really what's going on there. I mean, I kind of know, and I mean, I can copy it. Okay, great. But what are these? The peroneus muscles. What is that? The you know, the fibula head. Okay, then you know, the femur, the epicondyle, you know, and the iliotibial band coming in. So where do I find that out? I might get confused in that drawing, and I cross-reference someone like Robert Beverly Hale. And I go in, and this is very mindful, right? This is very intelligent studying. This is not Hail Mary, you know, throw up, you know, just a long bomb and hope someone catches it in the end zone. This is going through and learning. You know, you go through you go to the leg section, and you look at it, and you say, oh, okay, there's the iliotibial band. So, oh, there's that little bump, and what is that? Oh, that's the head of the fibula. And you start to associate what you're seeing somebody design and what it actually is academically, and then you have to draw this academically, commit it to memory through various modalities of studying anatomy, and that's an art in and of itself. That's a 10-year stint of studying. That's crochets with you know, maybe the most advanced would be crochets, meaning a splayed figure in clay, right? You could do it in ballpoint pen, in sketchbooks. You could do it in graphite. You could do it in charcoal. You could do it in all these different, and you should, right? But that takes time, and that's just one area of study. And then you need to cross-reference this academic information and see, how the hell do I turn it into a nice looking leg? I mean, how do I make a beautifully designed leg out of that? You know, as I look through this book, I go, I don't want to study this one, right? I don't like this drawing. Small hand, kind of dopey looking. I don't like it. It's not a good drawing to me, right? So I don't draw that one. I don't draw everything in here. I cherry pick them. Some are better than others. I don't like this big, heavy-handed, bulky, I don't know. It just doesn't it's not my style of drawing. I don't like it. It's too clumsy. So I go through and I cherry pick beautiful drawing. Small hand, some foreshortening problems, this and that. They can all be scrutinized, right? Beautiful drawing, gorgeous, incredibly difficult foreshortening. For those of you who just maybe did the streaming class with Lucas this last term on foreshortening, that's like the thesis, beautiful drawing of what you would want to ultimately take from that class and apply it someday to that level of proficiency in your drawings. So there's just a couple examples of books. Figure Drawing for All It's Worth, another Loomis book. Why did I bring Loomis? Because he kills it. He's a tonal draftsman in the same kind of ilk as what we do. I don't like the anatomy section in this book. It's okay. It's okay. I wouldn't say I don't like it, but I think there's better books. So I might go through that. I might look at it. When I was young, I drew from it, but I think I could find better sources now. And again, I'll be turning you on to those in the classes, in the online school. I will be stripping these down, and the information will be coming to you in a more streamlined manner. If you stream, you'll be then applying that information and getting to see how it actually works live action week to week as if you were in a model class. If you can get a model class, go to a model class, but they won't be teaching you this kind of stuff. I can almost put money on it. Not that it's, you know, again, I'm not here to bash any style of, there's just very short amount of people on the planet that are willing to get you better than them or are willing to share this stuff with you on a daily basis. Once they get good, they go work. And I mean, I've been balancing it with work forever, but this is my passion. Teaching is probably the most authentic aspect of my life. You know, it is, it just is. So now when I did the head drawing 20-minute lay-in streaming class, I'm going to show you a little bit about what happens, because a lot of people are asking, hey, what goes on in the streaming class? How does it work? I do the drawing demo. So if we look through my pad, you're going to see the demos from last term. That was my warm-ups for 1 week, right? So you watch me do those. I don't talk during those. But then the model sets up and I do a 25-minute demo. And I walk you through mapping. I walk you through this process. Then the model takes a break and I take a photograph of him. And I take him from the position I was in and 4 other positions or 3 other positions. We send those to you. You print them out. They look something like this. The reference is extremely high quality, high caliber, beautiful lighting. This is what you want to study from. You don't have to go find it in a book. You don't have to go find it online. It's right there for you, right? So a huge library that we're amassing of beautifully lit figures and heads to study from. So what you do is you go through. Now here's another warm-up from the next week. Usually alternate male, female. And I'm just going to go through it very quickly, and I'm going to do some tracings for you and show you a little bit of drawing of how I fix a drawing. So as I go through this, you're going to look at, let me see if I can find, I had a bunch of them, a bunch more of them, in here of mapping, and now what I'm going to, there's tons of them in here. Okay, so I'm going to get to, someone sent me in a drawing. So you get the photo, you have about a week to do your drawing. You have a certain deadline by which you need to submit it. You submit it, I get it, I print it out. I usually have the name up at the top, but I don't want to use anybody's names. I'm just going to use abstract stuff here. And this is the drawing that came in, right? And I get the photo, and I put it up in front of me, and I do what I would do in class. I start talking to you specifically about your issues, about the nose planes being a little too hard of an edge here, nostril being a little bit too pig-like, maybe a little bit too up. I would leave it out, maybe play it down. Lips are okay, but a little bit animated. General proportions look good. Ears a little dainty. Hair's been kind of phoned in a little bit, meaning it hasn't really been indicated all that well. And again, this is a 20 minutes, so I want the people in the class to try to stay around 20 to 30 minutes, maybe 40 if they're brand new. So they can add a little extra time. It's really up to them. But I want them to try to get used to lay-ins. And then what I do is I put that tracing paper over their drawing, and I go in and I fix it. And I talk about the skull and where the mandible is, where the jaw is located. I talk to them about how to locate the ear, how to map out that eye, how to inject it in, how to find it, how to topographically wrap it and what I'm thinking when I'm doing it, how to redesign that nose in a more attractive manner, how to make that lip work more with the Vanderpool information and the information that maybe that person doesn't have. So I'm teaching them Vanderpool, I'm teaching them skull, I'm teaching them Riley rhythms, I'm teaching them Hogarth, I'm teaching them Loomis, all in one package on the tracing, right? So I'm going to do one now for you and show you how that looks. So let's go to this one that came in of a model. Now I'm using a pencil similar to the charcoal pencil that we use, just only because of efficiency and size of this scale of this. I'm using the graphite monolith pencil that sharpens in a pencil sharpener to a very long taper so I can lay it on its side. So this particular drawing came from this reference. What I would do if I were you is always get the reference. You can't see it, but I have a little ledge here. I'm going to put the reference out in front of me. It's a little kind of easel holder, reference holder, so I can see it. And I want it out in front of me. So this, again, when we talk about mindful training, how to set your reference up, how to sit, how to hold your pencil, how to establish a situation where you are basically leaning towards a successful period of training, of learning, of memorization. And that takes, in my opinion, at least an hour, ideally 3. So if you have a 3-hour chunk of time to study, I know it's hard to find. A lot of you are saying that it's never going to happen. It's okay. It's okay. Hour's fine, but you're going to spend most of that time warming your hand up, just so you know. What happens in the second hour is you start to get in the rhythm and you start to, get in there and start fixing problems, stuff. And then the last hour, you're very fertile for memorization. It's hard to memorize in that first hour, I found. Now, that's just me. You may be different. So what I do is I look at this and I look at the drawing and I notice that this person is doing an okay job. I think they did a pretty decent job, especially for a 20 or 30 minute little lay-in. But it's a little cattywampus, like you got these nose planes going down here. You have a down tilt on the eye, on the head, but you've got this questionable mark area here. The planes in the front of the nose are kind of very nondescript and kind of all over the place. The eyes are kind of sketched in, but not well designed in. So they look like they're kind of put in a little bit, like, not quite that sloppy, but and there's a lot of rhythm tie-ins that I'd want to start talking about that this particular model is chock full of. So the rhythm from the eyebrow, from side to side. So what I would do is I would start and I would kind of get in here and I would look at this person's drawing. he or she, I can't remember whose this is, doesn't matter. And I would start my process of fixing this drawing based on what I see in the reference, based on what I see this person's choices have been, and I adjust this person. I say, okay, listen, you know, you got to watch this. I want you to set up an axis line or an axis line across the eyes, and I want all the axes to be parallel to that, right? So across the lip needs to be parallel to this decision, across the eyebrow, across the top of the lid, across the top plane of the nose, across where the nose wedges, top plane of the nose, bottom of the nose. And I want you to set up a little scaffolding system for yourself there. Do it very lightly. And then I want you to start thinking about, again, when we talk about this rhythmical grid system called the Riley method, it's based on a rhythmical grid of what's happening underneath the skin. So in other words, it's based on the bone protrusions and muscle rhythms. So from cheek to cheek, right? So if we find this one, let's run it and pick up this one. You don't have to draw dark all the way through, just a nice light scaffolding. Now I'll pick up the tracing periodically so you can see what I'm doing. Now I go in and I say, okay, this person's placement is generally pretty good, so I'm not going to remeasure. I'm going to go right off of what they have. I'm just going to improve upon it, clarify shape, redesign. No wonder I was having a hard time with that. That's an 8B. I was thinking, geez, I thought that was an HB. Yeah, that's an HB. Okay, so I go in and I start to basically clean up this person's drawing, talking about proportional errors, design errors, things that could be improved, things I like, things that might not be, could be working better if they utilized maybe a little bit of this information or that. And I might bring up an artist that it reminds me of, or someone that they may want to check out. So I'll talk about it and say, this particular model is very reminiscent of something you'd seen in Lord of the Rings or something. He's got a great character to him. So I want to exemplify that character in Bob. I don't want to downplay it, but I want it to be clean. So when I get into the beard, for example, he has this incredibly interesting mutton chop, kind of crazy, cool beard. So I want to go in and I want to utilize that beard as a design element in this drawing and not let it just become an afterthought and just throw it in like cavalier or carelessly. And I see a lot of people do that. The hair and the beard are the frame for the piece, right? It's like putting a picture frame on an actual painting. If you put a really bad picture frame on a really good painting, you could really do a lot of damage to that particular that particular painting. So we want to start keeping in mind. Notice how I go from the hairline to the hairline, then I pull the widow's peak in, then I come up here, and I make it a sculptural shape first, right? So this person, when they put it in, is doing so a little bit more kind of chunky and just kind of, I don't see that draw through. It feels kind of fragmented and broken up. The drawing in general feels a little bit like that. It's a little what we would call PC or fragmented. That's not politically correct. It means fragmented or broken apart because the pieces have become more important than the whole and thus have sacrificed the overall statement. And that is bad, whether it's in painting or drawing or design or whatever you're doing, that's a faux pas. So now it's a straight on view. So if we can find this width of the nostrils, we know it's coming straight down. We go straight up. Now this is the only time we're going to go straight up from that nostril. When it's a 3/4 head, here like this, and we have the socket and the nose, and we find this angle and this angle, we come parallel to this, not straight up. That's the biggest mistake I see people make in head drawing is they pull straight up and the eye goes way too close in. So we want to go parallel. That finds where the eye goes, and that's where we're going to locate it. Now, when we go into straight on, that's the one time you would go straight up because that is parallel to this angle, okay? Now, his nose is extremely interesting to me because it has all these wedges that we learn when we're studying the nose, like the alar cartilages and all this, but you hardly ever see it on anybody. So here we have a guy that has these great cartilage formation in his nose that allows us to really take advantage of the things we actually learned when we were studying a splayed head, which is hilarious. I love that. So again, when you go in to put the eye in, he has a very poochy orbicularis muscle. We might want to put the eyeball in anyway, in there, imaginary eyeball, okay? As I lift that up, then we may want to wrap that lid around the ball of the eye. And he has very beady eyes, right? So, you know, he's a little older. The eye's starting to droop in. The upper lash is, gravity's pulling down on it for many, many, many years, causes it to droop. Now, normally you'll see me run through and create the shelf of the eye, but I'm not going to do that in this instance. I'm going to, because it's way too low here. So I'm going to go here, cut back, and then put the notch in. What is that notch? It represents the darkest part of the eyebrow, the deepest part of the eyebrow, which is usually most in shadow. As it pops up and comes over the zygomatic bone, it rides back down. And when that's where it catches a lot of wear and tear, and it also catches usually from the hot spot in the light. So you're going to see that eyebrow have a tendency to fade a little bit there and not be as dark as that little cavity in there. So again, if I was just in this tracing to explain this eye, and sometimes what I'll do is in a tracing, I'll pick the most troublesome area, obviously, because I can't do the whole head. I could spend an hour on this thing. Usually I spend about 10 to 15 minutes on each drawing, going over it with that individual person, talking to them specifically about the things that I think are most pressing in that particular drawing. Okay, so on this one, there's so many things that I could work on, so many issues that I need to pick my battles. But that's why week to week I'll pick different things. And if I had 5 people pick the same pose, I might do an eye on one person's. On the next person, I might work on the muzzle. On the next one, I might work on the big shape. And on another one, I might work on the beard design. And that way you can watch all of those and see how I handle every area of that drawing, as opposed to just the area that I might have talked to on specific on yours. If you were in class with me, which is fantastic, and it is fun, like I said, and it's a wonderful environment, I would be working probably primarily just on that one area for you that week, and you wouldn't get to see all those other areas addressed because you'd be too busy working on your drawing after I left and went on to the person next to you to help them. And you wouldn't stop and watch me do that and stop me do the next one. So in that way, the streaming can also add a lot of variety and more impact to your retention as well. So each one of these modalities that I'm talking about, ideally, you would be at the brick and mortar, you'd go home and be on the online school, and you would take the online for your homework, and then you would take a streaming class or two to accompany some of the drawing to get extra practice in it for your extra homework. But very few people have that money, the time, or the energy to be able to do that. In an ideal world, that would be an incredibly powerful modality of training. And when we say mindful, it's all about smart, intelligent choices with how you train. So it's taking your scarce resources, time, money, usually time and money, and directing that with intelligence. So directing your thought process with intelligence, mindfulness, right? Not just bumbling, stumbling, guessing, going somewhere, not thinking about it, not doing your due diligence, not checking it out ahead of time. These are all things that are mindful, right? If I was going to say picking an art school is a mindful experience, you should go visit the art school. You should know what you're getting into. You should know what techniques they're teaching. You should know what their teachers do. You should ask if they demo in front of you. You should find out what their work looks like. You should do all that kind of research ahead of time to find out if that's where you want to study. If that's the person you want, their information going into your brain and coming out of your hand onto your surface, canvas, digital, whatever, right? So ultimately, we have to be accountable for that. And so what I'm talking about tonight is setup. I'm talking about procedure. I'm talking about intelligent directing of your energies so that you can become a very, very seasoned, accomplished artist for whatever reason it is that motivates you to do that, whether it's for altruistic reasons or whether it's for you want to go storm the castle and work at ILM or DreamWorks or Disney Imagineering or whatever. That's not of the biggest concern to me. What's the concern is how are you going to get there? How are you going to get there? Right? That's daily, daily, daily discipline. Stacking one small thing on top of another thing every day, respecting yourself, forgiving yourself, having compassion with yourself. This is a brutal area of study. It's amazing how much you have to know. So you have to be kind to yourself. Otherwise, you'll quit. You'll find an excuse for quitting. You know, you'll blame it on somebody else. You'll blame it on the school. You'll blame it on whatever. But you'll quit, you know. And at the end of the day, all I can do is inspire you through the things that I do in front of you, in the class, online, streaming, whatever, to get you to follow through to try to get you past that wanting to quit so much, you know, because there are going to be so many times that you're going to want to quit. And again, it goes back to being mindful, right? Part of that is compassionate self-forgiveness. I did the best I could. I got the flu. I forgive myself for getting the flu because I had no control over it, and it messed up my whole week of studying. Okay? Well, you can get mad about that. You can get crazy about it. You can get so frustrated about it that you just throw up the towel and say, forget it. I can't follow my schedule, so therefore I'm not going to do it at all. Or you can say, okay, that was a rough week. Next week, you have a better one. Maybe you hit 70% of it that next week and you feel a little bit better. Next week, you kill it and you get like almost 100% week. And then you're back on track, you know? And as you average out all those weeks, maybe you hit 70% of the 100% goal you wanted for your schedule. You will have impressive growth. It'll be amazing. Okay, so what I would do is I would go through and I would show, and sometimes I'll show rendering, sometimes, so anything could happen on tracings. Tracings are awesome because they're chock full of information. You get to see the instructor's thought process, and it's a great complement to those master studies we were talking about earlier. Now this next one's a figure, and it's a beautiful one of Yoni, one of my favorite models that we have. He's built like a tank. He looks like a Bridgman guy walked off a Bridgman book page. And this is the reference I would be giving you. This is the picture I shot after I did the demo. And then I shot 2 or 3 other ones, and then we send them to you. You print them out, and you pick the one that you want. You can also repurpose them for a study in the future. So great, great value, I think. Now this one I'm going to put back out in front. Oh, I'm going to have to clip it on in just a second. You guys are going to see the back of my head here. It's a shame you can't see me because I look like I just walked out of, I don't know, Star Wars or something. I've got quite a beard going right now. Okay. Oh, shit. My gosh. Okay. So this drawing gets sent in to me, and I look at it, and I say, okay, what can we do with this drawing? So first I usually unfold it, and I say, okay, let's talk about this drawing. Lots of gaps in your thinking, right? Jump, big question mark. Why is that happening? Why is that happening? I see a lot of lack of tie-togethers. I don't see a lot of draw-through lay-ins, so it probably tells me that this person is copying piece to piece rather than drawing through the form. I want to encourage the idea of drawing through the form. The core shadow is not navigating very well. We have these peaks and valleys. Like whenever you do that up, down, it looks like waves on the ocean. That's a no-no, right? It just doesn't work, right? It should be a lot more subtle than that. So I'm going to design that in a minute. The spine, I can't barely even find it. You should probably see that in there as part of the rhythm line. So the head gets drawn, then the neck, then I usually see a line for the shoulders, then I go down towards the sacrum, then I find my acromion process, find my V down towards that, find my V down towards that, find my neck to my hips, find my neck to my hips, and I start using the Riley method to break down the lay-in, and then I do the mapping on top of that, right? I don't see this person using the abstraction, so I'll probably choose to go towards an abstraction-heavy demo with some mapping on top of it to show this person how to better navigate this form. Not to mention it atrophies quite dramatically as it gets towards the bottom. So sometimes I'll see a drawing, and I can usually tell when somebody's been phoning it in, or they're spending way too much time, or they're not following the method, or, you know, and the person's not trying to impress me. So I tell you guys, when you're doing the streaming class, don't try to impress me. Send in your best effort for the 20. Do a 30 if you need to. And so a lot of my students now are saying 30-minute, drawing or whatever. They put the time and they put their name and stuff, and it tells me a little bit about how long so I can see. And I want them to be honest because they're only fooling themselves. I mean, I'm not trying to, you're not trying to impress me. You're trying to learn from my knowledge base. So give me what you got for the structure of that class and let me work with it so that I can really get you going. Don't take a 20-minute lay-in class, do a 3-hour drawing and send it into me as if it was a 20-minute lay-in. That's not only, it's kind of stupid. Kind of say, well, what are you trying to accomplish? I mean, you're missing the point of the class. So what I do is sometimes I'll come in and I'll say the emphasis on this drawing is not really the head. There's not a lot of information in the head. I would rather spend the time on this tracing talking about the issues I have with the lack of the abstraction and the fact that I don't see any draw-through lines. So I'm going to show him or her, what I'm talking about. So this is how I would approach, head, oval, kind of come in, neck to shoulders, acromion process somewhere here, 7th cervical vertebrae, somewhere probably in there. Start with my spine. My spine will come off that 7th cervical vertebrae down towards the split in the butt. I look up at my reference. Now this would be the same way I would approach it if I were a live model. If Yoni was sitting there in front of me, I would be approaching it identical to how I'm approaching it from this particular photo. So from that standpoint, I don't see a lot of negatives by studying with photos. I really don't. Life works awesome. There are some things you'll get from it that you could not get any other way. But if you're stuck in again, Timbuktu, and you got no models and you got no classes, then photos are fine, Again, in an ideal world, you'd have tons of money. You wouldn't have to work at all, and you just sit and study all day, and you can take the online, you can take the streaming, you can take you can move here, take the traditional, just sit, just drink it all in. But that's never going to happen. It's just not. That's la la land. So what we're going to end up doing is bumbling and fumbling our way through getting good, like I did, like everybody else I know did. And you're going to get there, and there's going to be some bruises, and there's going to be some mistakes, and you're going to have done some things too much, and other things you could have done less, or whatever. But the point being is that I told someone in class last semester, I said, if you get good, don't sit and pine over the fact that you could have done it 2 years faster. The fact is you got good, and that's hardly ever happens. So just thank your lucky stars you got good, you found the right place, you did it. And don't sit and pine over the fact that it could have been done this way or that way. Just move on, start producing your work, and start inspiring the world. Don't sit and hyper obsess about it. People get crazy. I go, what are you thinking? You got good, man. I mean, yeah, this is not a perfect science. It's not algebra. It's not the ramp up through mathematics. It's not that boom, 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 done. Now you're in the, just not that way. Now notice how as I'm talking, you see me drawing through the form. You see me dropping long lines. You see me looking for long sweep lines before I do the anatomy, before I start drawing the arm piece by piece by piece, right? So this is how we teach in our school, online, in streaming. We do it through, you do the drawing, we fix it. We inject in our knowledge base, we use our eyeballs, you rent our eyeballs until yours are as good as ours. Could be 2 years, could be 5 years, could be 10 years. There's no way to tell somebody how long it's going to take for their eyeballs to be as good as somebody else's, or better. So now notice I'm holding the pencil in very much the same exact way that I would if it was the Conte 1710B charcoal pencil. So as I talk to this particular person, I'll be talking, sometimes I'll talk more about like what I'm talking about. I'll talk about something that maybe isn't directly related to the drawing, but has an abstract aspect to it. So look at that, the way that's starting to come out, and then look at the way this is, right? And we've got this spotty darks everywhere, so my eye is going all over the place like a ping pong table. And you've got this cut line on the trap that looks like, or the lat here, that looks like somebody cut him with a razor. When I look at that up there, I see a line, but I see the interpretation. I would say, how about we offer this option? That we go a little softer on top and a little harder beneath so that we can get a rolling and pinching of that form. And then we look above and we have this hard edge here that bumps into a grouping of shape. And that shape should be, number one, thought about as to what it is. Chances are this person does not know what it is yet because the drawing tells me that their anatomy is a little lacking. Okay, that's okay. That's not their fault, right? We haven't taught them that yet. So there's no reason they should know it. So I have to be compassionate with this person and say, listen, how about we do it this way? Copy my lead until you can get that information. We'll teach you that information in another class down the road. But right now, we don't have time in this particular situation to go into anatomy. That's for the torso, front and back. That's for the arms and legs. We have classes designed specifically for that. Why? Because we can't, you're going to overwhelm the student by hitting them with too much stuff. Yeah, they should know anatomy before they do for life drawing, but it's not going to, so don't draw from a model ever until you know your anatomy. No, get into the model and just start fumbling and bumbling, and we'll start fixing it. And then we'll start teaching you anatomy through your fumbling and bumbling. And together, we'll get better together. I get better by explaining to you what you're doing wrong. So it's a very selfish thing that I'm doing in some ways. I mean, teaching, you learn more teaching than almost anything else, but not everybody's a great teacher. right? So teaching is an art that I've dedicated a good portion of my life to getting masterful at, and it's an art. I treat it as the same way I would any very specific art medium or thing that I've trained in academically or traditionally in my art. Now he has huge, ridiculously huge traps. So how we knit these traps together, how we link them together with the shadow patterns that are revealing them is extremely important. But it's not it's kind of obvious on him. On most people, it'll be a little bit more difficult. But there's lots of room for subtle design in the process of doing that. So you can look at it as a design problem. There's a gap in the photo reference between here and here where it bleaches out. I've chosen to link that piece of information a little bit with a subtle link. Why? Because I think it maybe looks a little bit better to the viewer to be able to see that and understand that. I may, dig into this scapular region here a little bit and invent a little bit of the scapula spine coming down before it hits the teres major, the teres minor, and the infraspinatus, which are your rotator cuff muscles, and they connect along the scapula. And the scapula, so does the trap. And as you get to know this stuff more, you'll be able to transparently see that scapula underneath that musculature and figure out where exactly it goes and who's on top of it and who connects where on it. And that's going down to the bone level, right? Which we would want you to do as well. So again, when I look at this and I look at the reference, I design the halftones based on what I know. This person is drawing them based on what they see by copying. You will always get a mediocre, and I'm going to say mediocre because it's not a bad drawing, but you're always going to get less than a stellar drawing when you're copying it and you're not interpreting, okay? So with that tracing, I might go through and choose to specifically work on the torso with this person. The next person I might, that does this pose, I might go in and do the leg more. If this person was in my class, maybe next time I do a tracing for him in the weeks to come, I'll emphasize some other area. It depends, on how I feel that. And I'll ask in class, the one nice thing is I'll say, hey, what are you having problems with? Oh, yeah, I had a really hard time with this. Okay, well, let's focus on that. I won't be able to do that with you on streaming, but I'll be able to see from the thousands and thousands of tracings I've done where you're struggling just by what I'm seeing in your drawing. I don't need you to really even tell me. I just do it out of courtesy when you're in class, but I can kind of tell what you're struggling with. But sometimes it's nice to just say, hey, what would you like to see me work on, So tracings are probably one of the linchpin aspects to our school that makes it so unique, because there's very few people that know how to do them, that will do them correctly, and that will take the time to do them. So when you talk about seeing the demos, getting a tracing every class, and magnifying that with good models, with good lighting, you get an incredible momentum in drawing the human figure. We do that with portraits, same thing. But then we get into drapery. We do it with drapery. So that's how this system works. It's very hands-on. It's very much. So again, when we go back to addressing training, I'm going to let you guys ask questions here momentarily. I know I'm just, I kind of got off track a little bit tonight because we had some technical stuff going on. But I think I covered what I wanted to. Now, mindfulness, again, things that will also help you: meditation, yoga, keep the body limber. Like right now, my back feels like I got my right shoulder blade from, 70 trillion hours sitting on one of these horses and drawing like that. Feels like there's a knife right in my mid-back. It always does. And it's just from it's it is what it is. So, I do I'm starting to do more yoga, more things that stretch that muscle, those lats, because it's hard on you. If you think right now, some of you will be doing this for 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80. Yowza. It's a lot of hunching over, man. So you want to keep the body limber. So yoga. You want to keep the mind focused so that you can concentrate for long periods of time. Meditation. I don't care what kind of meditation. TM, whatever, mantra-based. You can do whatever you want. I'm not pushing any one thing. I'm saying these are disciplines, right? This is just, it's things to do to get you to focus better. You'll learn a lot of that from going through drawing. You got to be able to focus for long periods of time. Okay, so let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, so here's some demos from earlier. Like that was a demo, I think, from earlier in the term when I did the figure. beautiful drawing. Lots of cool lost edges. I think it's really soulful. It really represents that pose really, really nicely. So that's a very beautiful artistic drawing. It's going to be a little confusing for some of you when you see something like that. Now, a couple other things before we leave and answer questions, or before I start answering questions, is in the studying from home also, things like casts, right? Now, you're probably not going to be able to have enough money to buy these because some of them are hundreds of dollars, but they're great to draw from as well, okay? The Asaro head, you hear me talk about it all the time. It's about $100. I think well worth it. Tripod mount on the bottom, get in on a tripod, tilt it all kinds of different angles. Great tool, gonna want one of those. Skull, just broke one earlier, unfortunately. This one's a really fancy one, half skull, half muscle, skin removed, splayed.